A ghost was seen in Benares, India, walking across rooftops. The sighting scared many locals and led to a police investigation. Twitter user Benaresians tweeted this video of the incident. Did you see the figure? Take a closer look. So far, the police haven't discovered what the figure was or who was behind it. Maybe that's because it's absolutely real. What do you think? I'm on the fence with this one. Something keeps coming into this creepy front yard out in the countryside. Something from the edge of the woods. He's seen it once before, and soon he sees it again. It looks like an extra tall, extra dimensional creature with a single horse-like leg bent inward at the knee. The upper half looks like that of a man. It looks like it could maybe be a trick of the light from the single street light in his yard. However, his camera is relatively still when it happens. The creature moves left to right, but his camera isn't moving enough to blame it on the lighting, in my opinion. These police were patrolling a graveyard at night, expecting to apprehend the living. Instead, they met the living dead. Published by Kitten City in December of 2021, a pair of officers are seen walking along a path in the middle of the graveyard, tombstones on either side of them. They then hear this horrifying howl. The male officer leaves his partner in the dust as they both hurry off. Did they just wake up a demon? Or is something horrible happening deep beyond the grave? Either way, I can't say I've seen police run away this quickly before. We've all played Call of Duty, but what's it really like to be on the front line? This first-person footage will give you an idea. The Famous World published this footage in January of 2018. The video, which is 25 minutes long, is filmed from the perspective of the driver of the US Humvee. You can see more vehicles in front and someone outside guiding the driver to position the Humvee as a blockade. The driver tells his commander that the opposing forces are taking fire, which you can hear in the background.
You're looking south, right? Look where Gonzo's firing. Kilo 05, this is truck 5. Can you give us the distance and direction over?
The driver then hops outside and fires in the direction of the opposing forces. Following some back and forth, the driver arms himself and crosses the desert in open view to cover his brothers in arms, one of whom is hurt on the ground. They load the man into one of the Humvees, and then there's a good amount of running back and forth between the barricade and the Humvee. At some point, they load up to head off. It's unclear whether the opposing forces stood down, but what is clear is the scary standoff was handled textbook by these men. 5. The territories in Germany were divided into 4 Allied occupation zones. As decided by the leaders of the Allied powers, the Soviet Union took the eastern half of Germany, while Great Britain, the US, and France took the western half. Berlin was about 100 miles from the western border, smack dab in the eastern or Soviet side of the country. Despite this, the city was also divided into sectors in June 1945, with the Allies again taking the western half of the city itself and the Soviets taking the eastern half. The Soviets did not like the capitalist city of West Berlin, located in eastern Germany, so they started taking steps to drive out West Berlin and its capitalist agenda from the region. First, they tried to starve them out of the city by setting up a blockade of West Berlin. However, the Allies airdropped in supplies to the residents, over 2.3 million tons of food and other supplies to be exact, delivered for over a year during Operation Berlin Airlift. In 1949, the Soviet blockade was finally stopped. The waters were calm again until 1958. Over the previous decade, around 3 million refugees and defectors, including skilled workers such as engineers, teachers, and doctors, crossed over to West Berlin from the east. This humiliated the Soviets. On August 13th, 1961, the Soviet premier decided it was best to close the border by constructing a concrete block wall with barbed wire, officially dividing East and West. In this way, East Germany could keep out the fascists from the West and maintain their socialist state. In order to get around the wall, you had to go through one of the 3 checkpoints, at which East German soldiers screened travelers, diplomats, and other officials. The wall was later fortified, made much higher and sturdier, and on the East German side, a gauntlet-type area served to prevent any more defectors from crossing via floodlights, tripwire traps, and dogs. This wall stood from 1961 to 1989, 28 years. On November 9th of 1989, the border was opened. People were now free to cross again from east to west and vice versa. The live coverage of those crowds that swarmed the wall with hammers and picks to tear down this wall, as President Ronald Reagan so famously put it, was scary and exhilarating at once. Cranes and bulldozers did the rest. All of this fascinating footage was caught on live TV. The ensuing celebration that occurred as the floodgates were opened was called the greatest street party in the history of the world by one journalist. Though the event was celebratory, it was also scary, as no one knew what the future held in Germany. As it turns out, a united Germany would be a leader in the 21st century and one of the strongest economies in Europe. This paranormal investigator's first look into the haunted Bel Air house cemented its title as most haunted house in the US. What's more, the Bel Air spirits are aggressive. The following occurred in the seance room.
What the fuck? Something just pushed me off the chair. What? Something just pushed me off the chair. Are you kidding me? No, and it moved.
The chair also appeared to move on its own after Karen is pushed off of it. The team also believes they captured demonic laughter right before this incident. The basement door kept opening by itself, and they went down to check it out. As they leave the room, you can hear faint wheezing. Listen closely.
I think we started that light for at least on the stairs.
If it's that mad at you, I don't want to shut the lights off while you're doing that.
What was that? The team concludes that the spirit heard laughing was a mischief maker en route to the seance room to push Karen off her chair. While the laughter could be explained as one of the crew's wheezing as they walk toward the basement door, the fall off of the chair looks genuine. Either it's legit or well framed and well acted. I think it's real. What do you think? According to SS3 Paranormal, a number of people in their house have woken up to others' arms and legs being held up in the air while they're sleeping. They've all paid witness to this, and now it's been captured on security camera. Let's watch. The arm does appear to be held up by some unseen force. It doesn't look natural. Well, this could just be an awkward nighttime spasm. If we trust the uploader's original statement, this has happened to many in the home, which makes me think it's not pure coincidence. What do you think is going on here? A ghost hunting YouTube channel called Spartan Hunters 2 explores the narrow stone corridors of the old Paulding County Jail in Ohio for any signs of the afterlife. As soon as they turn the corner, they hear something that sends shivers down my spine.
Did you hear that?
What was that?
Wow.
An anguished scream cries out from deep within the jail complex, which I'm sure most of you heard, but did you hear the creepy laughter that follows the scream? Listen really closely and you can make out the faint echoes of laughter bouncing off the walls. It happens right after he says, "Did you hear that?"
Did you hear that?
This young fawn has contracted an illness that is most likely CWD. It alters between standing paralyzed in place and spinning in circles, its neck rotating wildly all the while. At times it looks like its neck is going to snap, like here for instance. Maybe it is even trying to put itself out of its own misery. One thing that's strange is that this deer seems to prefer standing in areas with sunlight. Whether or not this sunlight-seeking behavior is based on instinct or actually provides some sense of relief is hard to tell for sure. This video was taken somewhere in South America, and it shows a man sitting on a table at a security monitoring station. Little does he know that he too is apparently being monitored, and not by a camera. After a while, this is what happens to him. Even the people reviewing the footage can't believe what they are seeing. Not only does a nearby chair move on its own, but it also moves in his general direction. It's almost as if the ghost is pulling up a seat directly across from him. Unbelievably, the man doesn't seem to notice this paranormal activity unfolding before him. At least at first. He is looking at his cell phone when suddenly it happens again. This time he sees it, and his reaction seems very legitimate as he becomes startled and tense. He looks behind him to make sure that the security camera is recording all of this for later evidence. Then he hops off the table and stares at the chair before him. Obviously scared now. He waits for it to move again, but it doesn't, so he goes over to inspect it more closely. This is probably the most convincing part of the video, because he would have seen a fishing line if it was a fake prank. Instead, he picks the chair up, puts it back in its place, and then puts a stand in front of it and gets out of there fast. I'm not saying that this video is absolutely 100% real, but it is certainly a possibility. In 2010, a man from South Jersey named Nick mysteriously went missing. His older brother Mark vanished shortly thereafter. Their small town was devastated by these back-to-back disappearances and feared the worst. There wasn't a shred of evidence for police to go off of, at least not until a few months later when one of Nick's high school acquaintances receives this mysterious post office package. Inside the package are memory cards and hard drives with hundreds of videos to analyze. Eerily enough, the return address was Nick's house, so either Nick sent this himself or someone else mailed it on his behalf well after his disappearance. Perhaps it was sent by whoever was responsible. A lot of the videos are typical teenage vlogging material you'd expect from 2010. Basic stuff like making a sandwich or watching TV. But on the other hand, there are at least 30 videos containing super creepy information relevant to his whereabouts, or should I say his possible remains. Let's retrace Nick's steps. On September 3rd, 2010, Nick goes to the notoriously haunted Pleasant Mill Cemetery in Batstow, Jersey to see what he can find. On the other side of an old bridge in the woods, he sees some 1800 burial markers and an old church that makes him feel creeped out. Though whatever he thinks he sees while standing on this bridge is what freaks him out the most. This is where voices are said to sometimes be heard on the water. Tell me if you see anything. I honestly can't say I see anything strange, but maybe something was there that didn't show up on camera. The video ends with him running back to his car looking very serious and scared, wide eyes and all, so he probably really did see something strange. He never wants to go back there again, but at sometimes the experience eats away at him until a week later on September 10th, when he goes back to settle his curiosity once and for all, this time with his friend Austin. Night has fallen by the time they arrive. There's not much activity by the old church, so they walk over to the river. They don't hear anything and aren't really that scared, so they challenge each other to sit in the darkness under the bridge. The very same bridge where Nick first saw something, mind you. And as soon as their lights go out, they make contact.
You hear that?
When they turn their lights on to see what's out there, They see this broad goblin-like face looking back at them, soon followed by a splash of water, like something jumping at them, or else reaching up from the depths below. Away they run and away it follows. I don't know what this thing is, but since they've disturbed its home twice now, it decides to return the favor. What you're about to witness happened on the very same night. Nick sees movement behind this curtain wall and thinks it has to be his older brother Mark. It certainly looks like someone's hands, and yet no one's there. Suddenly it grows very cold where he's standing, cold enough to see his own breath, which is odd considering it isn't cold enough to see his breath when he's outside looking for Mark. They really should have stopped going there, but on September 18th they try again. This time, after following these strange lights in the woods, they discover something they were never meant to have. This nondescript book has no title, but I want to know more about this strange binding. It looks like part of a protective ritual, or maybe even a curse upon whoever opens it without permission. Nick grabs it and they go get something to eat, and that's subsequently when they start getting followed even worse than ever before. By now, Nick and Austin have developed somewhat of an unhealthy obsession with the Pleasant Mill Cemetery. It scares them, but it also attracts them and they can't stop going. Maybe something there is enticing them to return. Something that wants its book back. And the more times they visit, the stronger its presence becomes at home.
What? Tired of this. Wait. What the?
When you look at the picture before it falls at 10 minutes and 28 seconds, I think it's a picture of Mark, the older brother who would soon disappear. On September 27th, Nick and Austin make a discovery that they seem to shrug off but I think is important. It's inside of an old house that they find not too far from the cemetery. The outside looks like it went ablaze a long time ago. Through a square hole in the floor, they spy an area that looks like it could have been a secret chamber when covered. They get a really bad feeling and don't want to go down, but Austin makes a simple observation that I think speaks volumes.
Oh, it smells. Alright, we're wasting time. We gotta go.
It could be mold, or it could be a body that hasn't been disturbed in quite some time. Things get really crazy after they discover the possible body. By November 2nd, Mark is gone and nobody knows where he went. Nick goes back to the cemetery to look for his brother, and this final recording is what he finds. A tall figure with an all-white face marches toward him, with a long tool in his hand. All I will say is that it looks like Nick sadly met the same fate as his brother. Point Lookout State Park in Maryland has everything from haunted prisons to large cemeteries, all historically preserved but otherwise seldomly visited and practically abandoned. This is one of the most haunted places in the world if you ask a YouTuber named Fixed Image, a man who comes here to try and communicate with spirits quite often. This place has always given him a paranormal feeling that he has trouble putting into words. Usually he does little more than scare himself in the woods, but July 31st of 2018 is the day he makes clear and deliberate contact with the other side. He faces the Cheapskate Bay on a cloudy day and tries to force a ghost sighting on camera like always.
I'm alive. I'm a human. Speak now into this device when I'm silent, if you haven't already said anything. So I know you're here. So when I come back here next time, I can help you.
5 minutes and 11 seconds is when he notices something strange and unusual behind him. He knows this area quite well by now and knows that cabins are not open to the public and should be latched shut.
It's a little creepy, to be honest.
Today, one of the doors is open, possibly because of what he said. He wants to investigate further, but a sense of paranoia grows with each step. He He felt watched from this cabin last time he explored here. With the door now open, the terror he feels is twice as great.
I just feel isolated, like anything that's in this area is right here watching me. Yeah, I'm not going in any of these places. I can't right now.
He has an internal struggle with himself for 2 full minutes, trying to find the courage needed to go to the cabin and take a look inside. He has conducted so many paranormal investigations here before, and now that something has finally happened, he finds himself too scared to get the paranormal evidence he needs to be taken seriously as a ghost hunter. But that's not how he wants to end this video. He knows he can't go out like that, so he takes a deep breath and marches back to a place that frightened him so badly before. This time the paranoia returns twice as strong, and he is struck by a heaviness in the limbs, as if the very presence of something dreadful is weighing him down.
That's when I feel so heavy. And I feel like I have to look all around me every second. I feel like there's something behind me, and then when I look behind, there's something in front of me.
The closer he gets to the building with the open door, the heavier his limbs feel. He is so off balance by the time he gets there that he worries he will not be able to run away. He is too afraid to even look in the direction of the cabin, but soon he is forced to.
The doors are shut. The doors are shut. The doors are shut. I'm not even kidding.
He puts a sound effect over the video, but you can still hear the door close by itself if you listen at 18 minutes and 53 seconds.
Oh!
Anyway, he feels normal again as soon as the door shuts and is able to sprint away. There's nobody in the parking lot and no sounds or signs of a cleaning crew inside, so I agree that a ghost could have slammed that door shut. The Sorrel Weed House is said to be one of the most haunted buildings in all of Savannah, Georgia. 2 different women have met their end here. One of them, named Matilda, who is said to still roam the courtyard in her black dress. While taking a tour of the area, a YouTuber named Billy Smith captures this quick video of a woman fleeing the house wearing an all-black corset. What's weird is how she never actually opens the front door to her left. Instead, she appears out of nowhere to cross the space between 2 columns, and then does emerge from the other side. According to Billy, this figure was heading in the opposite direction of the parking lot, so if they were a staff member, they would have to double around to get to their car eventually. He waited until 1:30 in the morning and saw no one else from the house for the rest of the night, and certainly no other traces of her. Did this person uncover a ghost portal in their garbage bin? Shared by a now deleted Reddit account, this security footage captured something glowing from under the lid. The bin looks somewhat distorted, while rays glow from the side of the lid. Some in the comments think it can be explained. I think Foji Fessy is probably right, but I prefer to imagine a ghost portal, a raccoon rave, or some other mutant haven lying within this trash can. Chelsea Luna and her friend James go ghost hunting in an old haunted tunnel from the 1920s. This creepy shadow figure at 18 minutes and 7 seconds is what they find. Everyone says that this is a real ghost sighting, but I'm pretty sure this alleged apparition is simply Chelsea's finger while pointing at something. You can kind of see the rest of her hand when you look close, a split second before it happens. So I think this scary ghost sighting is an accident and not real. The best place to see ghosts, cemeteries of course, as these paranormal investigators confirm. They posted this haunted cemetery video in October of 2019 writing, 2 different husband and wife paranormal investigators accompany GOCM 1 week apart to investigate a known haunted cemetery. The 45-minute video includes creepy screaming heard in the darkness as the investigators examine tombstones, as well as random voices heard using an EVP, a child laughing. Some of the ghosts even ask for help to leave.
What the?
A reminder to bring your EVP along the next time you enter the cemetery. That is, if you want to communicate with the afterlife that lies beneath those hollowed grounds. A paranormal video from Russia follows ghost hunter Sergei Sokolov on an urban exploration that creeps him out. The investigation eventually leads him to what appears to be a recently used altar. Crushed cans rest on 3 points of the evil-looking star, north, west, and southeast, probably where candles are going to soon be burned for a ritual of some kind. But it looks like a summoning ritual might have already been performed when this happens.
Подпишитесь на канал, поставьте под этим видео лайк, напишите комментарий.
They are wrapping up the paranormal video in typical YouTube style when something weird is caught on camera behind him. Some people say this is a possible paranormal entity, but if you pay attention, it looks like it could be a drawing on the wall. But even so, why is only the drawing lighting up? What would you do if you discovered this demonic face peering into your baby's crib? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Shadow Panda. The Redditor writes that she was checking her 10-month-old son on the baby monitor when she saw something unexpected. She notes that the footage you're about to see is not edited. The baby monitor shows what looks to be a horrifying face mid-screen between 2 bars of the crib. Shadow Panda explains further in the comments section. It's outside of his crib, but when I went in there was nothing there. My husband even moved the tummy time mat, and the face or whatever was still there. After removing her son from the crib, she checked the monitor and the face was still visible. She shares a picture of it in the comments section, but after completing a thorough examination of the room and the crib, although she found nothing, the image vanished from the monitor. While several Redditors have theories, spanning from a bunched up blanket to the Goblin King, the Redditor admits she's completely baffled. One thing most can agree on, this monster looks bonkers. We've seen 30 East Drive here on Chills before. It's considered one of the most haunted places on Earth. This time, it's the Ouija brothers' turn to meet the evil entity that resides here.
You still want to contact us? It's a little knock.
That was definitely a knock. You can also hear it in the hallway.
If you still want to contact us? It's a little knock.
Later, while they're on the stairs, they hear another loud bump.
What was that? From where? It was in this. It felt like it was underneath.
They hear something again on the landing. Later, while they're all sleeping, their Steadicam captures more knocking. Others in the comments say they've visited 30 East Drive and heard similar noises. I'm not on the fence with this one. This place is haunted, and though the activity was subtle on this one, combined with other evidence of Fred the Ghost, I believe it. This home in Villisca, Iowa is where an axe-wielding maniac once took the lives of an entire family and 2 guests. Whoever did it was never brought to justice, and now, more than 100 years later, the restless spirits of those left behind have yet to find peace. A YouTuber named Lighthouse Music senses the spirit of children hiding in the closet and starts recording. She speaks in a nice tone and offers candy. Nothing happens for some time until... Then, as if further proof was needed, the spirit appears to follow some other basic commands.
Just a little bit further, or can you close it?
They even ask the child to open the door wider than before as a test, and it timidly seems to obey. But the part that really has me convinced is at the very end.
Just in case that was you, I'm gonna do as promised. I'm gonna leave you some candy. I'm gonna leave it right here, over here on this chair for you, okay? Well, thank you.
Notice how the door shuts harder than any other time in the video as soon as the spirit gets what it wants. Maybe it could be a draft from a nearby window opening and closing the door, but this definitely seems like childlike behavior to me. A series of unfortunate events leads us to no answers in this video. The security footage was taken in September of 2015 at around 1 in the morning. The footage appears to be taken outside a shop after some heavy rain. Two men are standing outside, one on the pavement, one at the door. After a moment, something grabs the man standing on the pavement. Water is splashing around like the incident is happening in a puddle. The man falls to the ground and the other man near the door attempts to come to his aid, grabbing his arms. He is pushed back though and runs off toward the door to get help. The man continues to fend off the invisible force before being dragged out of sight. The man returns from inside, looking as though he's on the phone. He searches around for the man and walks toward the water. Then a large figure comes flying at him. It's not clear if it's the man returning to safety or something else. In slow motion, it looks like it's crawling on all fours. It chases the man inside, knocking the door on the way in. A moment later, a mysterious figure in a black cloak exits the building. What is happening here? Who grabbed that man? What gave chase into the building? And who is this cloaked figure? Unfortunately, we are left with no answers, only questions. This video of a shaky, alien-looking pod looks like it really shouldn't exist anywhere on planet Earth, let alone some random person's basement. The way it moves from left to right without being touched makes me think that some strange life form is about to burst forth. Most of the comments agree that this could be some sort of egg or cocoon with a foreign host inside. Note how strange furry hair seems to protrude from sections of its hardened exterior, further indicating that this is in fact a living organism of some kind. The video ends before we can see what hatches, but whatever it is, I just hope it isn't something that is harmful. The Paranormal Voyages team is staying overnight at America's scariest motel. Will they get any sleep? Let's find out. Outside, they come across children's graves.
Is that you out there making noise?
When they ask the spirits if they're there, the response is chilling.
That was a kid.
That was a kid.
And the follow-up is even creepier.
There's a witch. It said there's a witch.
My light battery is dying quick.
Yours?
Fully charged.
But just when you think it can't get worse,
Can the kid come forward and talk to us? Tell us your name. Don't be shy.
Where's the kid? You said that was a kid that I heard.
a little later, Celia feels something.
Touch me?
What?
What are you touching my hair for? Yes.
No?
Yes, you did.
I didn't.
Yes, you touched the top of my head.
How much you want to bet on? How much you want to bet
You
on?
touched my head.
Back in their room, the haunting follows.
To see if you catch it sometimes.
Sounds like they're pacing, kinda. It sounds like it hasn't happened to us before. We've even slept in the room on the second floor, and we've heard
walking on the roof.
When they finally get some sleep, a series of strange events happen. The water turning on and the bedsheet lifting has me convinced that this place is truly haunted. What do you think? Would you stay here? If you ever crept through cemeteries looking for ghosts, then you might regret finding them. This video was posted in March of 2012 saying, "Been taking video of local cemeteries for a while and examining them from frame to frame. Found the image of what looks like the ghost of a young boy from around the early 1900s by the way he is dressed. The video was filmed in Kinder Cemetery, and as the sign reads, the cemetery was established in 1902, so plenty of time for ghosts to lay down their claim." As the camera pans the cemetery, you can see a short-lived flash of light near a grave. Can you spot it? Well, some in the comments of this video doubt that it was anything more than a flash. Others, like YouTuber Dang Cho, claim to see hair sticking out of the red circle. YouTuber Yvette Sanchez notes that it is an apparition. Of course, the ghost is not going to be easy to spot, but if you look hard enough, you can see something is there. Well, you can certainly see a flash. It's a bit of a stretch to say the ghost is of a young boy from the early 1900s in my opinion. You can't really make out anything more than the light. But what is that glow? Is it the young spirit shining? Or is it just a trick of the light? A YouTube channel called Exploring with Danny returns to a haunted chapel that has given him a bad feeling in the past. He is taking another look around when he detects shuffling in the next room over.
What the was that?
When he goes to check out the next room, it proves to be just as empty as the first. He doesn't see anything unusual and soon begins to record various plaques on the wall out of interest. Danny is looking over the names of soldiers when he casually sees something paranormal sticking out from behind a doorway.
Ah! Oh my god!
The scream in his throat sounds very real as he turns to find the unmistakable outline of a nun's head staring through him. It happens very quickly and it's hard to tell if it really is a ghost or not. Before you say fake though, first hear me out. The nun sighting happens at approximately 2 minutes into the video. Yet here you can see the doorway is completely empty at 1 minute 45 seconds, a full 15 seconds prior. The video appears to be taken in one continuous take with no editing. Therefore, I believe there is a strong possibility that this sighting is real. This individual sees strange sightings in the sky. Creepy stuff hidden in front of our eyes, as she puts it. It would be easy to dismiss her notions as outlandish, except for one thing. She can back up her claims. You see, Sheila has caught weird things on camera. She zooms into the trees to find a creepy pale face with round black eyes staring back at her from the treetops. This could be a balloon or something else stuck in the tree, but it's far from the only bizarre thing she's caught on camera near her house. A short time later, she finds this odd light not too far from where she saw the face. 2 other lights are spotted in the sky in an odd formation that soon blinks away. Together they do seem to, once connected, possibly form the outer perimeter of a much larger disc-like object. What are these strange silent objects that glow and grow? The unexplained lights do not look like a helicopter and have no trail of a spotlight, so what could they be? Are you afraid of your own house? Join the club. Posted to TikTok by Scary Clip 606, this man's haunting is intensifying, and this clip reveals it's about to get worse. As the man wanders around his house in fear, a strange noise is heard from the hallway.
Whoever's in here needs to leave. Like, I've had enough of it, and it's just getting worse.
It becomes quicker, like it's galloping. Some in the comments say the galloping sounds like a demon with goat legs. The man looks down the hallway and enters the kitchen. There's nothing there. He tells the spirit to leave, but maybe it just doesn't want to. A YouTuber named the Ghost Metalhead 666 is filming an empty room in the castle of King Henry VIII when suddenly a visitor materializes before his very eyes. Look in the bottom left corner to see it. The YouTuber captures the translucent outline of a small child. You can see how the toddler starts out on the floor and unsteadily climbs to its feet. The head, arms, and legs are unmistakably human-like. If someone is any good with video editing, then let me know if this is fake or the real thing. Otherwise, as more than one person pointed out in the comments section, Henry VIII did have many stillborns during his reign as king, and this perhaps could be one of them. It's late at night, well past closing hours, when the St. George's Theatre in Norfolk catches this mysterious disturbance on CCTV. It starts as small movements in the very corner of the far window, so slight at first that you hardly notice it's there until it leaves, only to return again and dart down the hall. At 28 seconds, it stops to look in through another window for 4 more seconds, then it's gone for good. YouTuber Stefanka, also known as Stephanie from 90 Day Fiancé, is certainly no stranger to having bizarre moments caught on camera, but nothing could have prepared her for a creepy surprise like this.
I don't really talk about paranormal stuff on my channel.
The reality TV star thinks she could have possibly caught real evidence of a paranormal ghost sighting on her home CCTV system. Let's analyze the events and see if this spooky encounter is real or fake. One night, while entertaining her family, Stefanka casually opens up the security app to check her CCTV cameras. That's when she discovers some mysterious activity going on in front of her house.
Eventually it dawns on me, like, that's the figure of a person.
Within 10 seconds, the bizarre figure seems to transform into a solid white, ghostly floating form. Stefanka herself alternates between believing and not believing the activity is paranormal. I don't want to get anything wrong, so these are her exact words at 6 minutes and 10 seconds.
I think it's a ghost. Everyone I've talked to, everyone I've showed it to, even skeptics are like, that's a ghost.
So she thinks it's probably paranormal, which is fair, but I do have a theory. The porch light and the lamppost are reflecting light back into the camera, which could create this bizarre effect in the middle. But with that said, Stefanka has tried to recreate this scary moment many times, and she has a legitimate question.
Maybe it was a glitch, but then like if it was a glitch, then why did it stop? Like, why did it only happen that one night?
I can't say for sure, but I suspect that one of the lights was out when she tried this again. I think both of the lights have to be on at the same time for this bizarre occurrence to happen. But if she did replicate this under the exact same lighting conditions and saw nothing, then it would prove that this is a mysterious figure caught on tape after all. This port city in western Saudi Arabia looks like the aftermath of a building collapse or else some kind of terrible eruption, but it's none of that. It's actually just starting and the worst is yet to come. The massive plume of smoke spreads evenly across the horizon, and at 1 minute and 15 seconds you briefly get a glimpse of where it finally ends. There's no outrunning this event, and finding shelter is almost pointless. The cloud is growing taller by the minute as it heads towards them. The air is becoming gritty and it's getting harder to breathe. Vehicles desperately try to get away at the last second, but it's too late for any of them to get far, nor the cameraman for that matter, who seems resigned to his fate and makes no such attempt. This is a massive sandstorm, and if you haven't found shelter by now, you're in big trouble. The winds pick up and everything around him starts creaking unsteadily.
Yan, nandito na. Nandito na ang isang storm. Parating na. Sige.
Someone tell me what his last words are, and if you think he made it through this event.
Yan, oh. Hindi ka makakita.
Those are the last recorded moments before I assume the sand broke his camera. We may not get to see what happens next, but I doubt it was anything good. Either way, there's something about the possibility of this whole town getting buried alive that makes this video creepy beyond words. You may think you're alone, but are you really? posted to TikTok by Tayasha. This one is bound to give you the heebie-jeebies. On what looks to be a stormy night, the TikToker is walking around an abandoned building when she spots this in the window. The dark-haired figure appears ghoulish, staring out at the passerby. What do you think this mystery figure wants, and who is it waiting for? This has either gotta be the paranormal or a very elaborate hoax. There's simply no in-between. This unnerving doorbell cam footage was taken somewhere in New Mexico. A random person walks up to a house in the middle of the night and just basically goes crazy without warning. They appear to have lost all sense of reason as they first yank on the doorbell cam and then start to scale the wall. It's unclear if they are really trying to gain access to the house itself or if they are just out of their minds and doing whatever spontaneously comes next. After a while, they come back into view and kind of wobble around. This next part sounds like they might have even fallen over, but I'm not exactly sure. Overall, the strange man seems more confused than necessarily looking to cause havoc, but I would still not want to encounter this potential maniac either way. YouTube team Ozark Paranormal Project sets up a stationary camera in this haunted room. While the group is all hanging out in the hallway, notice that their shadows cast from a light in the next room to the upper wall.
I walked in on this.
Stand in the corner and pray with me.
But later, when no one's there, strange lights are cast on the room's walls. What was that? Watch above the open door. It almost looks like fairy dust. It doesn't appear the same as the other light sources falling in the room, but is it paranormal? I think it's more likely a camera glitch of some kind, but I've never seen one so bizarre. What if you fell asleep only to awaken to find a venomous snake slithering in the sleeve cuff of your shirt? That's what happened to the relative of a patient in a government hospital in India. The man was napping on the floor when a green venomous snake slithered inside his shirt. When a member of the hospital staff noticed the movements in the man's shirt, they called a local wildlife rescue society for assistance. Personnel from the center arrived and managed to remove the snake from the man's kurta, which is a loose collarless shirt in India. Surprisingly, they did not awaken the snake during its removal, and undoubtedly, that man certainly thinks twice now before catching some Z's on the floor. While camping out at this haunted castle, a rustling is heard in the forest. Published by Exploring with Fighters, this YouTuber is exploring the abandoned ruins of Liverpool Castle. Being hundreds of years old, these castle ruins are bound to be haunted, and they're about to give the explorer a taste of fear. As he tries to sleep, his dog is alerted to a rustling sound outside their tent.
Thought she was doing her goose impressions. She started doing her goose impressions because there's a weird noise coming towards us.
Noting that an owl has kept him up all night, the explorer was wide awake already, and even more so when the mysterious noise seems to be coming toward them.
An owl has kept me awake most of the night.
While the suspense builds, nothing reveals itself, leaving us to wonder what was lurking outside the explorer's tent. Was it man or beast, or something else? I want to know what you think about this interesting paranormal video posted by Darkalooz. First, 2 pieces of his overhead vent fall off, but when it happens, the camera freezes. So is this an electronic interference from spirits, or is it poor editing? Next, this chair turns all by itself. It's by a window and behind a table, and therefore far out of reach. Perhaps eeriest of all are these two legs with no upper reflection. You would logically assume this is Darkaloo's recording, but if it was, as one commenter points out, then where is the rest of him? Here's another strange basement video that doesn't seem to have any good explanation besides the paranormal. A YouTuber named David's Ghost Cams has recently installed a brand new smoke and carbon monoxide detector that seems to be acting quite strangely. First of all, it only goes off when he is downstairs. Second, it tells him that the carbon monoxide levels are at 0%, which means it shouldn't be going off at all. Finally, it tells him to get out of his home.
Okay, so we're gonna go downstairs, and I'm going to show you what happened the other night.
Look what happens as soon as he steps foot in the basement. Keep in mind that this alarm has not gone off since the last time he went downstairs. There's obviously no smoke to speak of. This, combined with other weird happenings, has David convinced that his basement is quite haunted. David explains that he once had a house guest who stayed in the basement over 3 months before taking his life. Everyone was surprised. Ever since then, David has noticed things in the house moving around by themselves, strange noises, and most recently, the faulty smoke alarm. Even stranger is that how, as soon as David starts talking about the smoke alarm again, it goes off on its own for a second time. The only explanation I have for this video is that somehow David is manually testing the smoke detector himself and blaming it on a ghost as a prank. However, all of the smoke detectors I've ever seen requires you to physically press a button. This one really does seem to be going off all by itself. This brings me to an interesting point. If David's house guest was a friend, then why would he be telling him to leave his home? Perhaps there is some sort of danger. Perhaps he is trying to warn David of a gas leak or an impending fire. I guess only time will tell. A YouTube duo called Alone and Afraid are ghost hunting in a haunted cemetery in Port Arthur, Texas. While scanning the perimeter, they barely managed to catch a moving shadow that has no reason to stand out, let alone step aside. Look again. At 26 minutes and 58 seconds, a shadow is standing in front of a marker and then it moves away. The camera goes out of focus in the exact same area where they last saw the shadow's movement. Now standing in the middle of the cemetery with only a flashlight on them, the two begin hearing scary noises coming from the darkness.
She was asking for help. I'm hearing stuff all around us. This place is just super eerie.
I would classify this as extremely haunted. So, as promised, we're going to come back.
They hear approaching footsteps in the still night.
We're going to come back.
But when they explore the area with their flashlight, a blurred camera is all they can see, like an invisible presence is standing near. This entry involves a series of videos revealing a web of industrial-looking tunnels that weave beneath the campus of Northern Arizona University. The uploader states that in October of 2018, he only reached the bottom of the stairs but recently decided to venture further. Enclosed Granddad writes, NAU was almost established as an insane asylum back in the mid-1890s, and rumor has it that these tunnels would have been part of that. He shares a link, which notes that the building was first built as a reform school for Arizona's so-called vicious youth. It's unclear why it remained empty for years upon completion. That's when, as Granddad mentioned, an insane asylum was proposed by the territorial legislature. For some reason, that wasn't followed through either. What isn't made clear is this short historical literature is when the tunnels were built and for what purpose. The recorder guides us through the dark tunnels, writing, I came across pathways that I could have potentially crawled, shimmied through, but chose not to because 1. They seemed a bit dangerously cramped at points, and 2. I didn't want to spend too much time down there. I don't know how much farther these tunnels go until we find out what those tunnels were used for. The mystery may just be enough to haunt you. If you knowingly lived in a haunted house, would you stay? Donnie Drunkard did. Published to YouTube in December of 2020, this paranormal activity will run you out of Donnie Drunkard's home. Donnie writes, after trying to recover footage that I thought was lost, I found these clips from last year documenting the earliest days of paranormal and poltergeist activity manifesting in my haunted house. The footage first shows Donnie playing with his dog Terry, but later that night Donnie notes that the atmosphere changed and that they heard voices and sounds coming from upstairs. Terrifying clinking and clanking bursts through the darkness. Terry is growling as Donnie grabs for his Bible and starts to pray.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
As Terry tries to escape under a table for comfort.
Terry, come here. Terry. Come on. Come on, Terry. We gotta go.
Donnie gathers him up to flee this mayhem for a time as they head out for a drive. In the background, an overhead light is swinging back and forth while they are away. A closet door near where the sound originated opens slowly. Nothing exits. YouTuber Brenda Luke writes, that hallway, it's not just darkness, it's advanced darkness. I'd be leaving that haunted house immediately. Unidentified flying device sightings, ranging from Manhattan to Brazil, is enough to make anyone at least a little nervous. A YouTuber named Lazara Black saw this bright soundless blip moving fast across a Miami night sky on March 19th, 2020. It pauses in midair and is soon joined by another ball of light that moves effortlessly and without noise. Whatever these are, they aren't a normal aircraft, and they certainly aren't slow falling flares. A second Miami YouTuber named James Black confirms this sighting with a second video, also uploaded on March 19th, 2020. The glowing orb is too big to be a drone and moves so quietly that you can hear the nighttime crickets chirping away. Listen. About a week later, this Manhattan sighting was uploaded by YouTuber Plumber33789 Peebles. What looks like a lightning storm produces no visible bolts, and then the same familiar lights rise together in a triangular pattern. All of them fly out of sight, but this final one simply disappears into the clouds, so I'm guessing that's what the rest did as well. Did we just witness a fleet of unidentified flying devices taking off? I think so. And I've saved the weirdest video for last. This was taken on March 13th by a YouTuber in Brazil named Frederico Mueller, who has been seeing these strange lights for months now. This video proves that they are abnormally bright, perhaps even radioactively so, to the degree that they burn bright white even when behind a cloud in broad daylight. And his dogs are going crazy too, the kind of restless barking when danger is approaching. Not quite here yet, but soon. If you've ever entered the grounds of an asylum at night, or any purportedly haunted territory, then you know what YouTubers, the proper people too, were feeling when they encountered this in the woods. Published in December of 2016, the footage shows the pair driving down a creepy dirt road surrounded by trees, with only their high beams to guide them. They're heading to an abandoned asylum to explore it at the scariest time of day. Once they get inside, it's clear that they weren't the first to explore this haunted place. There's tons of graffiti on the walls and remnants of past visitors. While they're exploring, one of the guys says he hears rustling. Then at one point when they film out the window, he claims to see someone standing in the trees. Although the person isn't clearly captured on camera, they decide to get a move on after that. But before they get in the car to leave, one of them sees a light. He calls out hello to no response. They agree it's too sketchy, being that whoever was out there wasn't responding.
There's no other car here.
He was on this side.
That was 100%.
That was a person. But he had a phone.
Why is there a person here?
The person could be laying in wait to rob them, so they jump in the vehicle to get the heck out of Dodge. Viewers gave their hot take on the video in the comments section. Viserys offered up some good advice, saying that if you're exploring a place like this and you discover that someone else is there, get out as soon as possible, making as little noise as possible. Will Wild's Outdoor Adventures is a YouTube channel focusing on interesting hikes through nature trails. This time, Will Wild is completely alone in the woods when he gets the feeling that he is being watched. His survival instincts tell him to pause and survey his surroundings, a decision that probably saves his life. Watch this part and tell me if you spotted anything before he zooms in, because I sure didn't.
There's a bear right there.
There's no doubt that he would have kept going straight into its clutches if he didn't think to zoom in first. It's standing dead center in the path and looking straight at him, so maybe if it was even waiting in ambush, he turns around instead, but that doesn't exactly mean he's safe yet. Bears are notoriously curious and will follow hikers for a long time, especially if they are protecting their territory. So now Will has to keep making noises to keep the bear at bay. He is absolutely terrified, but he has to sound as brave as he can as he backpedals down the narrow path while screaming, "Hey bear!" As you can see, there is tall vegetation on both sides, and he expects to be a goner at any moment from an unseen angle. Also, one false step could leave him with a twisted ankle and a wild bear steadily approaching.
Bear spray out.
Hey bear! The trail even widens into a clearing, and he can see that he is not being followed. I think he took the best course of action considering the circumstances, but let me know what you're supposed to do in that situation, and if he made any mistakes. A man in Saudi Arabia films himself working outside when he almost gets seriously messed up. At first it looks like he simply loses his balance, but that's not what he claims, and it's not what the video evidence shows. He says something in the desert pulled on his leg, a supernatural force that wanted him to fall. Watch again and you'll see his leg does go backwards, but it doesn't go very high, so maybe he could be lifting it himself. So while this would be a creepy situation, it's hard to say if he's really telling the truth or making it up for attention. Judging from the comments, about 2/3 of the people who have watched this video worry it's real. Do you believe them? A strange and mysterious sighting on a doorbell cam has left this Los Angeles resident frightened. Their 5 a.m. visitor is seen through and at times straight up invisible. Plus, listen to how the audio skips when it passes by. Since paranormal energy is known to make cameras malfunction, I think this could be a real ghost sighting video. Zakenikov is exploring the Bower House, an old farmhouse in West Virginia, when he catches something of interest leaning out the window. This gray specter watches over them from afar. If you still don't see it, it's looking to the left and the lighter colored area at the bottom is its right shoulder. Don't worry, if it's too hard to see, Zake didn't see it at first either. His camera passes right over it and doesn't notice until they were already far away. I think it looks like it could be the reflection of a cloud, but at the same time I do agree it looks like it could be the spirit of a person watching them enter, and if it is, it doesn't seem pleased. This YouTuber takes his girlfriend on an adventure to go exploring a tunnel that's said to be quite haunted. The Blue Ghost Tunnel in Ontario is close to a graveyard that was not properly relocated and still has hundreds of unmarked burial sites. Well near the entrance, Jack hears strange sounds in the sky that sound like a train horn, but there's just one problem.
I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but listen in the background.
Trains would derail so often that the tunnel was soon condemned, so I have no idea what that sound was. When they get through the boarded up entrance, from deeper in the tunnel comes the voice of a little ghost girl calling for help. It could just be a squeaky piece of machinery, but I don't think so.
Hello?
A mysterious light way far ahead makes them both leave quick. You can see it comes from way too far ahead to be a part of their equipment, and besides that, they claim to not even have flashlights anyway. I don't know why you would go exploring a haunted tunnel without a flashlight, but I guess they weren't intended to go very far. Little did they know they wouldn't even make it past the entrance without getting freaked out. This scary Randonautica is brought to you by YouTuber CJ Faison. While in Las Vegas, CJ ventured out to the random location he was sent to by the app. The Randonautica takes CJ and his crew into the middle of the desert, where they discover a photo of CJ taken with some female fans at the Mirage Hotel from 2014.
I'm literally shaking. I have chills up and down my body.
We've got nothing all day long.
Look at that.
We've been struggling. What was that? Yo! That's a picture of me!
Yeah.
CJ says that one of the girls in the photo is named Julia. Alongside the photo is a note that includes CJ's full name and some other personal information.
The dark-haired girl in the middle, I met her in 2000, and I believe it was 2013, when I was racing in NASCAR at Richmond International Speedway.
Nearby, they also discover a wallet with some random stuff in it, including a room key for the Luxor, which is where CJ is staying.
Makes sense because we're in Vegas. There's another Luxor room key.
Oh, dude. I'm staying at the f***ing Luxor.
As they ponder this mystery in the desert, a couple of cars pass by and a girl shouts out at them, "Randonautica video boys, come on." Is it Julia? A YouTuber recalls another video that CJ shot where he's reading texts about him from Aaron Valentino. The YouTuber notes that these texts mention the year 2014.
Very well that you have stumbled upon this phone. I know many things about you. I know that you wish you could change some things that happened to your life in 2014.
The same year listed on Julia's picture, as well as the quote that CJ read on the back of the photograph. The quote was, "The ones who aren't afraid control life itself," which is a quote from infamous Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker. Yikes. Later, the crew notices something off in the distance watching them.
Hold on, give me a sec. Let me zoom out first. It's right there.
Oh.
Person. Can you record that for the video?
Did someone plant this stuff here? Is that someone watching the group across several Randonauticas from Pocomoke Forest in Maryland to the desert outside of Las Vegas, Nevada? Several YouTubers in the comments think this crew is being tracked or their phones have been hacked into. Perhaps these Randonauticas aren't so random after all. According to YouTuber Gankwapi, this abandoned house has a horrific history. It's near the end of their investigation that they encounter this spirit. If you look a little closer, you can see a figure lurking in the darkness. Look to the right. Is that the old man spirit, stranded to haunt this evil house for eternity? I suspect it just might be, although I could also see it being the Life Taker's demon, jailed forever in this purgatory on Earth. This creepy abandoned house is one of the most haunted places in the UK, and you're about to find out why. YouTube team The Ouija Brothers investigate. As they approach the home, they think someone is there.
thought I seen something up in the top window then.
You might have.
Oh God.
Because the door's locked.
I honestly thought I seen something up in the window.
They continue inside, and Carl thinks he sees something.
Whoa! What? Car?
No. Run.
It just says run on mine.
That message is chilling. In another hallway, they hear two distinct taps.
Cough.
They hear another unexplained noise next.
You hear that?
I didn't.
It's okay.
In your room?
Just in front of me, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't make a noise. I'll check back on that.
And another.
What was that? Is that you?
You were me. Sounded like something coming from a cupboard.
It was like what?
I'm not sure if any of this was actual proof that the place is haunted, but I do think these mysterious sounds, coupled with what the guys saw here, may warrant further investigation. A YouTube channel called DIY.com decides to do some paranormal investigating at a haunted place in San Francisco called Stowe Lake. They're exploring for a while when this creepy statue comes at them from the darkness. Soon they notice that his camera seems to skip frames, or twitch as he calls it. Watch the frames skip whenever he passes over their faces.
Faster. Well, you see how it twitches?
Yeah.
The camera? Did you see that? Can you guys do that again? See? It twitches.
Twitches, yeah.
I couldn't really see what they were talking about until they address one of the children directly. That's when you can see a major frame loss that's scary enough to make one of them run away screaming.
Little girl. Ooh, you see that?
You can see it again in slow motion. Freaky, right? A son who is too young to tell time keeps coming into his parents' room at 3 a.m. to tell them that something is in the room with him. They think it's weird, so they set up cameras all around the house, and sure enough, at 3 a.m. they catch these broad, scary faces that lean in and look directly at the camera. I'm really hoping that this is a mask, but without a closer video, we will never know for sure. Two friends stand on the edge of the woods, looking for a figure that's said to haunt their suburban neighborhood in Missouri. What they encounter while exploring this forest opening has left people asking if it's real or fake for years since. A shadow person kneels in the woods, regarding them without saying a single word. They see the shadow for only a moment, but it's scary enough to make them drop the camera and run. Later, they retrieve the camera and upload it onto YouTube. If you listen closely, moments before they see the strange figure, you can hear his friend Ben saying he feels something piercing through him. Something like its cold, lifeless stare. Sound in the absence of sight can be seriously alarming. This video shows just how frightening it can feel to hear something you cannot see. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Camilla Rose 529. The Redditor explains that she and a friend were cleaning a house when they heard this incredible mayhem outside.
Yeah. What was that? It's freaking me out.
They went out to see what was causing all the ruckus. The sound fills up all airspace outside. Though garbled, it sounds a bit like a jet flying overhead. A moment later, however, this terrifying roar blows your eardrums out. Maybe not a jet, perhaps a literal monster.
Yeah. What was that? It's freaking me out.
Camilla writes, "We called the police and they were unable to give us any information about what was going on around us. I never went back to that house again." Redditor Paranormal Psychic notes in the comments, there have been multiple eerie sounds coming seemingly from either the woods or the sky itself, usually music, horns, or even screaming. First time I've ever heard growling. Is this a growl? If not, what is it? It certainly doesn't sound human. A YouTuber called Are You Amazed decides to try an urban legend, which if done correctly will transport him to the spirit realm after pressing floor numbers in a special sequence. Nothing seems to be happening until he presses the last elevator button, which as you can see here is clearly a 6. They start to get scared when the elevator hits the 6th floor and promptly keeps moving.
Yo, I pressed 6. Yo, where is he?
The door gets stuck for a while on the 11th floor and then suddenly opens. A strange man they have never seen before is standing before them with clasped hands and a knowing look on his face. What's weird is how the man doesn't even seem to get into the elevator. As they step around him and rush down the stairs, Are You Amazed still not as sure exactly what happened, or if the scary random encounter was supernatural. I guess the person waiting for them could have just been a normal guy waiting for the elevator. But if that's the case, then I'm not sure why it didn't stop at the 6th floor first. Also, I should say that the number 11 is considered an unlucky number in many cultures, so it might not be a coincidence that this is the floor they stopped on. 3 friends bravely choose to summon Bloody Mary while one of their parents records. They recite her name 3 times in the mirror, and when nothing happens, they decide that the legend is a bust. The dad makes fun of them for a little bit, and they go on with their day.
I guess now we know that Mary Worth doesn't like you.
According to them, it wasn't until much later that they actually looked at the video and noticed some strange occurrences that made them upload it onto YouTube. Look at the countertop in the upper left-hand corner.
Oh, please. Come on now. Well, what other ideas?
I don't know, other ideas of how to get her to jump out of the mirror at us.
Maybe it takes a little longer.
Like how long?
I don't know, like a couple minutes.
The candle appears to move by itself on at least 2 separate occasions. I guess it could have been magnets, but I really don't understand how. It's important to add that they were all picking the candles up to light them just a moment earlier, and nothing was hidden underneath. Give me your best guess as to how they moved these candles. Or better yet, tell me if you think it was Bloody Mary who was moving them. This YouTuber didn't notice what he'd captured on camera until he played it back later, and when he saw it, he was scared. Published by Sphinx 2720 in March of 2010, the scary video was taken at Gettysburg. The investigator is standing amongst some boulders at the beginning of the clip. He says the cluster of rocks is called Devil's Den. As he walks around the den, he appears to capture the devil himself. What looks like a large cloaked shadow figure is looming right in front of the den. Another oddity occurs at the beginning of the video and was noted by Akeo Ateo in the comments. As the investigator is getting his bearings with his camera, a dark figure in the distance beyond the nearby rock is spotted lurking past. What is going on here at Gettysburg? Do these figures have anything to do with the area's history? A man is driving down a haunted road in Hawaii when he sees a pale beige orb on the left side of his camera.
No idea what that is on my screen. It looks like a ball of light on the left.
I thought it was just his finger until I realized it was semi-transparent and slightly changing shape.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I have no clue. There's nothing there.
Watch this part and you'll see there's no way that this is his thumb. His passenger points at something on the side of the right, and their hand actually appears in front of the orb. The weird circle continues to hover in the corner for a full 3 minutes. It does not fade or go away even when they pull over, turn off the lights, and step out of the car into darkness.
It's still there. It's moving. It's still on the left. And I don't know what that...
If you have any idea how an orb could stay so plainly visible even without a light source, then let me know because I am honestly stumped. In 2010, a mysterious creature sighting was caught on a GoPro camera in Ontario at Algonquin Park. A large shadowy figure unsuccessfully attempts to conceal itself amongst the scenery, too tall to be a shrub and too wide to be a human. There's always the possibility that this is a mannequin and that the video is fake, but if not, then what could this strange roadside creature sighting along the woods possibly be? Things are getting out of hand with this pyro poltergeist, published by Memoria Sobrenatural Inc. in December of 2021. The spirits first make their presence known in this haunted place via EMF meter. The crew tries to communicate with the spirits and the window shutter slowly opens, perhaps to distract from the fire being set behind them. When they leave the building, they see a dark figure cross a doorway in the firelight. Later, they're back inside and they hear clinking.
Cara, que sentimento horrível, pessoal.
And then a loud bang.
Cara do céu!
The flame they lit earlier goes out suddenly. Then, as they attempt to detect a presence using the EMF meter, the spirits send them up in flames.
Cara do céu!
Do you think this team finally got the message? This poltergeist couldn't be any clearer. He wants them gone. I don't think I'd ever go back to that place. A while back, I analyzed a video of a weird spider with a strange growth under its abdomen. Well, I did some more research and found this video, which finally explains what it was: an egg sac. First, they come out one by one, and within less than 2 minutes, hundreds have burst out. Their mother patiently stands guard until they are all free and then leaps away, leaving behind her brood in the hopes that they will scatter to every room in the household and successfully grow to full size. A strange creature sighting was caught on camera, moving fast along the Powell River in BC, Canada. The unknown creature was seen by many, but only one witness, a man named Oscar, was fast enough to have captured video evidence of one of the scariest moments of his life. He fully admits what he saw on the lake haunts him to this day. He saw it coming from half a mile away, a mysterious figure moving fast underwater. He says by the time he ran into his RV camper for a camera and came back, it was already moving past him, so he only caught but a few mysterious and unexplained moments on video. On one hand, this does look like something strange and mysterious slithering just beneath the water's surface, like a gigantic sea snake. On the other hand, this video looks like something getting pulled by a boat, a tow line perhaps. The fact that you only see the last 17 seconds is kind of suspicious, but would make sense if he had to run and get a camera. It all depends on how much you believe him. Oscar goes on to explain that this lake is 1,200 feet deep in some areas, and was once connected to vast ancient glaciers where deep-sea channels could have once led to mysterious and unknown creatures. Perhaps this unexplained video is one of these deep-sea creatures coming up for a visit. It sounds like an interesting legend, but I think I would need more video evidence than this to fully believe it. And trust me, if I find more videos about the monster of Powell Lake, I will be sure to analyze them. In the meantime, tell me what you think of his bizarre sighting, especially if you have any idea what this unexplained video could be. Is this a ghost or just the cold? Posted to the r/Chills Narrator subreddit by Louis D Vlogs X. This scary video was filmed in a cemetery during a live stream. The video shows old tombstones scattered throughout the graveyard. As the camera pans around, that's when you see it.
Like level out. Because it takes ages for the grass to settle.
A semi-transparent figure appears to walk across the screen from right to left. It's so quick that it's difficult to tell what you're looking at. The camera then lands on one of the living crew, and it doesn't seem as though any of them saw this figure in the moment. Some in the comments think it's the cold breath of the crew member that you see moments later, but it certainly looks more solid than a breath in cold air. What do you think? I think some spirits are quite active at this graveyard. Rob of Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration challenges himself to withstand 30 minutes of the paranormal without getting scared of this haunted place in the woods. Creepy things are soon caught on camera. Rob's paranormal worries are just starting to begin.
My camera battery was already half full before I even really did anything with it.
He's talking about how his fully charged battery is mysteriously half drained when a woman's voice softly talks about taking lives. Strange red lights flash in the corner when she speaks.
Hello?
He also has 2 potential ghost sightings outside while listening for more EVPs.
Sounds closer though.
First, this strange object disappears in the distance, followed by a possible ghost orb up close. Overall, I think Rob's findings are beyond creepy and probably real. A few days ago, strange sounds started coming from an old shower stall in this house that Alejandro has not used in years. He wasn't sure if it was rats or something, so he went up there with a camera, and this scary sighting is what's been caught on video. "20 seconds after showing us nothing was in the shower, this ghostly figure presses against the glass, flies upwards and disappears. This almost has to be CGI because there are absolutely no editing cuts, and the way they fade away doesn't look like somebody simply stepping away from the glass. He reinvestigates and the shower is just as empty as before." At around 3 a.m. on April 12, 2010, this strange apparition was captured on the security camera of a bar and grill in Las Cruces, New Mexico during closing hours. Published by Ghost Investigations New Mexico in April of 2010, the crew slowed the frame-by-frame to 1/8 speed and shot video of the bar's security monitor. What they captured does indeed look like a floating head. In the regular shot, it appears to flash in and out quite quickly, while in the frame-by-frame, it looks like it actually flew out of sight. You can make out the eyes, nose, and mouth, and ears of the head's face, but it doesn't appear to have a body. There was no one inside the bar and grill at this hour. So what is this thing? Is it the face of a spirit? Where did its body go? This home inspector wasn't expecting to find this. Published by Cleveland Marco in July of 2011. The inspector is at this residence and explains that a former resident is said to have passed away in her sleep there and that her ghost remains. As he's explaining that the ghost is said to enjoy walking around and opening doors in the home, a door opposite slams open by itself. This surprises them all.
And she likes to open doors, and she says, well, they say that doors open by themselves. No way!
They try it again. The inspector opens a door, and as he does, the door across the room opens as well.
All right, let's do this again. All right. Here it goes. Open the door. No.
This happens 3 times. While some are saying it's the air pressure in the room, others are keener on the ghost story. I definitely think something mysterious is going on in this house. Even ghosts are trying to go to college. Published to YouTube by Philip Potgieter in March of 2016, this freaky school video was captured at Helpmekker College in Johannesburg, South Africa. The footage shows a phantom figure gliding down the hallway at around 11 at night. It edges towards a wall and merges into what we can assume is a classroom to the right. The figure disappears without further explanation. Is this ghost just heading to its next night class, or does it need help from Helpmekker to cross into the beyond? 2 friends are riding down the Kerala Highway in India when they see what they later agree has to have been a ghost of some kind. The figure is dressed in pure white and holding something, maybe a flashlight. Creepiest of all is how they seem to be deeply staring into the darkness at something. They are in such a deep state of concentration that they don't even look up when the car zooms by just a few feet away. They remain frozen in place and seem to be holding their face in surprise. If this is a ghost, then they could have been looking at the roadside remains of their own body. According to Steve, this area is infamous as the site in which a person who was taking people's lives during the 1950s hid the bodies, and he may have lived in this abandoned home nearby, hidden in the woods. Published by Steve Ronan in April of 2020. The crew quickly comes across some unsavory items. This is an arrangement of bird skulls. Later, they find another piece of animal anatomy. What type of animal is this spine from, and why is it here? I'm starting to wonder if Norman Bates lived here. One last creepy thing they come across are these little figurines. A skeleton and what looks to be Gollum. Is this actually the house of this 1950s maniac? Why were all these possessions left behind? And what is up with the bird skull trophies? I'd be staying far away from this house.
That's creepy. So just birds, huh? Bird skulls, or maybe mouse skulls?
No, I think it's like a rodent.
Yeah.
Like a family of rodents, but what them right here like this, I have no idea.
Pete Privy is perfectly piloting a drone in the parking lot, at least until the time comes to land. His friend is demonstrating how to grab one out of midair, but he turns around while talking, and a propeller socks him right in the eye. At 10 seconds in, you can see his friend grab his face and then stumble away in surprise. Someone hurries closely behind, ready to catch him if he passes out from the blow, and the video ends. This picture shows how closely Pete's friend came to losing an eye. I think a hit any higher would have cost him his sight. As Pete says, the moral of the story is that caution is always required around drones, so never let your guard down unless you want to look like this. Devin Brosiv and his friend Brian find the creepy remains of a decrepit hairless doll in the woods one day. They want to take a video of the bizarre find, so Devin goes back to get his phone. When he returns a short time later, the doll is not in its original spot.
Brian, I found it. It's moved. Look. Oh my god, that thing is creepy.
Somehow the doll had become entangled under a thick pile of brush within the brief period of time that it took for them to get a phone and come back to the spot. The two friends record it for a bit and then leave. 2 days later, they get a random impulse to check on the doll again. A light snow now covers the forest floor, though they are confident that they can find the doll again easily. This time, in place of where the doll's head and body used to be, they find its missing leg. Either somebody has been ripping dolls apart and moving around the body parts all over the forest, which is creepy enough, or I guess this doll has been doing it on its own. Both are simply terrifying. A doorbell cam video at 3 a.m. has caught some scary moments on tape that people need to see. Watch this and tell me if you think it's real or fake. A ghostly white apparition forms before the camera half a minute before 3 a.m. It looks pretty good at first, but then it kind of looks less real the longer you look at it. If I saw this phantom-like figure outside of my house at 3 a.m. like the uploader says they did, I would be absolutely terrified. German ghost hunter Cubanito goes exploring an abandoned haunted house for one of the scariest 3 a.m. videos I've analyzed in quite some time. The haunted house has long been abandoned in the woods. Getting inside is quite a chore because an unsafe wooden ladder is missing many steps. Inside is a dark and heavy feeling that makes them whisper nervously. A missing section of wall shows a hidden room under the steps.
Fernsehen und so. Ey, warte, guck mal. Haut ab, ey. Du hast Verlängerungskabel. Komm.
They hear a loud noise and run outside, but they didn't come here to get scared off in the first few minutes, so they continue the 3 a.m. paranormal investigation and go in. This time they manage to get upstairs and come to a door painted solid black at the end of a long dark hall. They are beyond freaked out, but nobody wants to quit, so against their better judgment, they open the door. In this decrepit little bedroom, they find a warning written on the dresser. I feel like it's a warning about a ghost, but the Google translation is so off that I won't even bother telling you what it says. If any of my German subscribers could tell me what this means, I would really appreciate it. The second word definitely looks like stop. They start to prod the door open but cannot bring themselves to. It's probably for the best. Who knows what was in there? Probably nothing good. There's one room left to check out on the top floor. This room looks like it's seen a lot of party action. It might even still be inhabited by some. They start to worry about the floor breaking, and that's when it might actually start to.
Was kann ich alle auf einem Flex, weil es einbricht? Stopp. Scheiße, Mann. Ja, los geht, was
A snapping noise sends them all running out of the house before their 3 a.m. challenge becomes a 3 a.m. rescue. A family is sharing a meal when someone uninvited shows up for dinner. Originally posted on TikTok by an unknown user, this video was shared by YouTuber Arte Morbid. Take note of the bowl on the corner of the table. When the family realizes it's moving, they all watch. But it doesn't move again. Many believe it's just a wet plate on a slick surface. It does appear to move in one direction, so I'd consider that theory. Or maybe dearly departed Uncle Ned has joined the group for dinner. What do you think is going on here? While hiking through the Great Smoky Mountains in North Carolina, YouTuber Mr. Backyard Birding hears this bizarre roar. It sounds almost mechanical, but the YouTuber says it is the sound of a mythical, once extinct giant creature who is said to roam the mountains. The sound is heard repeatedly as the YouTuber continues through the forest. While some are mystified, others are sure this sound is not mythical but rather common. Having listened to some bull elk calls, I have to agree, but if I didn't know any better, this would shake me to my core. A paranormal explorer from Turkey named Ansari is documenting a haunted tunnel that's too scary for him to get very far.
جوا يا بسم الله شو هاد والله العظيم اطلعوا يا بسم الله.
Behind him, an eerie red ring radiates with an evil force. He knows he has to get out quick or else he will succumb to its terrifying effects, but as he creeps near the entrance, the haunted tunnel takes a final swipe at him.
في صوت حركة بسم الله شو هاد خليني أقرب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يلي موجود هون بسم الله سمعتوه أقسم بالله العظيم في صوت حركة يا والله العظيم في شيء عم يركض جوا بسم الله.
Ansari's had enough and decides to block off the tunnel to contain whatever evil is inside, but it seems as though whatever scary thing he's caught on tape has other plans.
إنه هالفكرة هي منيحة من هون لبكرة أنا بيبين معي إذا رح يا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أقسم بالله العظيم شفتوا شلون شالت.
It seems like the rock could have simply fallen over here, but it's very heavy and shouldn't tip over so easily. It's hard to say if it was pushed over by a ghost or simply already off balance to begin with, so let me know if you think this video is paranormal or not. As for why only a small portion of the tunnel would be glowing red like that, I have no idea. This church is apparently haunted. YouTube team Signs and Signals returned to an abandoned church that's haunted them since one of their first paranormal investigations. First, they head to the cemetery to recall where they saw this.
And yep, right over there. Went straight to that bush.
It looks like an extra large bat, maybe a vampire mid-transformation. As they're checking around the bush, they hear something come from the church.
Well, people were saying it was going in the bush. We checked it plenty of times. Dale?
That was...
You know what that means.
100% in the church.
They approach and peer in through a window.
I swear.
Door. I heard the door.
Yeah, I swear to God, I just heard the door do something, like something knocked on the door.
Something is in there, but they have yet to see it. When they near the door, they find it open.
You better come on around from there. Come on. And
once inside, the creepy feeling escalates.
I already feel like I'm like being stared at everywhere I look. How long?
As long as it takes.
As Dale is talking about the last experience he had here, a light behind him flickers.
I started feeling all weird and like hot and everything and started getting mad and stuff.
But behind you, Dale. Behind you. Light. It's not the same one.
Is this real? It's not that light.
It's not the same one.
When they approach the spirit, it makes its presence known.
You'll knock a book over. Did you hear that?
I thought that was you.
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They investigate further, then they capture this.
Oh my.
Dale.
Please tell me you got that. Right?
I did.
You got that?
I did.
There's something in this church, and they don't want this paranormal team trespassing. Not at all.
Freaking cool and pretty clear, and it's so...
Oh my... Dale,
see?
I told you. It's the piano. It's the piano, dude. Oh my...
In my opinion, it's time for them to leave this place, especially after they managed to photograph this. That terrifying shadow sends the coldest of chills down my spine. Without a doubt, this place appears haunted to me. A YouTuber named QBangGuy receives a deep web mystery box with a pile of old electronics inside. He notices an outdated cassette player with headphones, so he puts them on and hears a woman saying the same thing over and over again in a different language. Listen to this part and let me know if you can translate. Something about the woman's tone sounds menacing to me, almost as if she is making a twisted prediction. If you speak the language, please let me know. If it was very difficult to watch, but important to see. Blake Courtney has recently lost his brother Cody, and he feels he can no longer deal with the situation on his own. On top of that, he also recently broke up with his girlfriend after a serious relationship. His 8.5-minute video starts off pretty normal, and it sounds like he is just letting off some steam, until you realize that these are the last words of a man who decided to take his own life. Pay attention to what he says, because if you hear anyone else say something like this around you, then maybe you can get them help. He says that he doesn't want to feel anything anymore, which is a major red flag.
I just don't want to feel like this anymore.
If you know anyone who strongly and overwhelmingly feels that their life has no purpose or direction for long periods of time without changing their minds,
I'm not doing anything with my life.
it could be another sign. Watching him say goodbye to his family makes this video incredibly saddening, but at the same time, his family posted this online in hopes that it will save someone else's child from saying these terrible words.
Mom, I just want to tell you I love you. Thanks for always being my best friend.
If someone you care about is feeling this way, don't wait to talk to them about it and get them help. Ask them questions and let them know that they are not alone. It could make all the difference. And if you are feeling the same way as Blake did, then please know there is help available. I suggest befrienders.org because they are a non-profit who offer worldwide resources. These residents captured an actual witch on camera hovering right in their driveway, shared by YouTuber Madisy ENT. The footage was taken at around 3 in the morning. Watch closely above the vehicle.
Baby. Baby, come on, see. Baby, baby. Babe. See. It's on me. Come on, see. What's that?
The mysterious being drifts for a moment, and all you can see is its glowing eyes and wild hair, and then it does this. Whether this was a witch or not, I think it was important to run away. My advice to this YouTuber would be to put as much space between you and this thing as possible. This footage, published by Paranormal World in August of 2019, shows a scenic mountain and forest opposite an overpass. After completing a full 360 to take it all in, the camera falls to the cars whizzing past below before returning to the mountain. This time, the mountain isn't the only thing carving out the sky. A Godzilla-like creature peeks out from behind the mountain. At first, one might mistake it for the mountain itself, but it slowly begins to move, voiding that theory. While many in the comments say this is a good edit, some are more concerned by the man's reaction. YouTuber Dap writes, "If there is a Godzilla, you are running, not chewing gum." That's probably true, although other people note that the creature is friendly, so perhaps the cameraman had no need to fear him. Still, seeing a creature the size of a mountain would probably get your heart pumping, friendly or not. Sometimes, if you want to know if a room is haunted or not, all you have to do is ask.
Move it. Holy.
It's creepy, but I'm not sure this object really moved on its own. It sounds like a fan is blowing from side to side and could have moved the object instead of a ghost. Tell me if you hear it.
Holy.
He might have put the bottle at just the right distance to make it seemingly move upon his command. Is this moment paranormal to you? I'm on the fence with this one. An adventurer in India sees something truly chilling.
खड़ी हुई है अस्तगफिरुल्लाह ये तो वही चुड़ैल है ये कोई औरत खड़ी हुई है नीचे हम छत के ऊपर आए हैं कैमरे उतारने के लिए और ये औरत नीचे खड़ी हुई है भागो इधर से
He diverts his horrified gaze, and when he looks up, it's gone, but not for long.
ये आप देख सकते हैं ये कमरे भी आप देख सकते हैं लॉक किए हुए हैं इन्होंने ये आप सुन सकते हैं
Red blotches on the curtains mark where an apparition has touched the cloth. I did not see these handprints here moments before. He goes outside and finds a drastic change of weather, further evidence of displeasing a powerful spirit.
ये आप देख सकते हैं ये आवाज़ें भी आप सुन सकते हैं
He turns around to go inside for shelter, only to be greeted by the sound of a child's voice through a partially open door.
अभी दोस्तों इधर से जा रहे हैं इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट टाइम हम जब आएंगे किसी बुजुर्ग को साथ में लेकर आएंगे.
He wisely decides to wait out the storm outside and does not go back in. I suppose he figures it would be quicker and less scary to chance it with the lightning rather than return to whatever poltergeist activity is waiting for him there. While exploring the Royal Arcade in Keighley in the UK, the YouTube team Staffordshire Paranormal Explorers encounters an abundance of paranormal activity as they communicate with the spirits. They hear what sounds like a door moving.
We heard a dragging noise in here before, or possible footstep shuffling.
What was that?
They hear unexplained taps and knocks.
Got 2 knocks?
Yeah. It was like dun dun.
As they continue throughout the place, a disembodied whistle or whisper is heard.
Okay, spirits, we know you're here with us now.
And not long after, 2 thuds are heard.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Later, a distinct whistle sounds.
I heard a whistle, man.
In my opinion, this place is creepy enough without all the whispers and whistles, but the paranormal activity really puts it over the edge. Here's a vintage ghost video taken back when most people did not know how to edit anything at all. A ghost hunter travels to an abandoned house in Virginia on a road in the woods with no streetlights and no neighbors. A CCTV system is set up, which looks old-fashioned by today's standards but was state-of-the-art back in 2002, and at 8:13 at night, this pale ghost in the window is caught on camera. The ghost in the window is not the investigator. He's standing behind the camera adjusting it at the time. According to him, this window is 7 feet off the ground with no way for anyone to get up there in the first place. I was thinking it was a passing car, but he says the street was quiet as always, so maybe it was an apparition after all. Is this house haunted? Posted by YouTuber Ricky Velasquez. A security camera captured some jarring movement in the living room. Watch the sofa. After the sofa appears to be shoved by something unseen, the woman shouts at her partner in alarm. Let's see it again. The sofa is given a good push, but unfortunately the narrow view prevents us from seeing if there's anything off camera. Although her reaction seems genuinely disturbed, I can't say that this couldn't be faked. We're gonna need a few more cameras. A TikTok user named Dixon83 catches a paranormal experience in the kitchen, which he had suspected was haunted for some time. His suspicions are confirmed when his cat trots through and the closest cabinet door swings open by itself, followed by what I think is a heavy exhale. His cat is definitely looking directly into the cabinet at something unseen. Tell me what you think it was. Blink and you'll miss it. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Power Startup writes, IDK, what's up with this video? It's slowed down and the voice sounds poorly acted, but when she turns the camera back around, look at the left staircase. As the woman in the video addresses an unseen presence called Joey, the camera pans from a rickety old stair to a darkened window for a moment. It's when she turns back that viewers are seeing something unusual. Redditor Paratrax writes, that's a foot walking up the stairs, while others agree that it appears on the 3rd step to the bottom near the railing. Is this Joey? If so, he's not in the basement. Lady, he'd be right beside you. This scary paranormal investigation comes from an unknown uploader somewhere in Russia or Ukraine. 2 brave ghost hunters pull up to a lone house rotting in the woods. A haunted place known for strange poltergeist activity. The inside looks fairly normal, but being here gives them an unshakable feeling of being watched. They're exploring room to room and soon don't see much activity until they get towards the back of the house. That's when things get weird. Okay, that's a lot of scary stuff to happen at once. I counted 3 creepy things, so let's go through them all. We all saw the ghost throwing objects to the ground, so that's 1. You probably didn't see the shadow figure caught on camera seconds before it happened. That's 2. A rising cry after the ghost throws an object to the ground is the 3rd creepy thing. They are brave ghost hunters, so it's going to take more than that to make them scared enough to run back into the woods. More, but not much more. A ghost slams the door shut on a room that I guess they are forbidden to enter. Who knows what scary stuff went on back there. Strange secrets that even someone's ghost doesn't want you to know. And maybe it's just me, but right as the door slams shut, I think I see a shadow figure materialize at 1 minute and 55 seconds. Tell me if you see what I mean. Whatever they saw or felt or heard was scary enough to make them jump back in their car and never return. This huge wall of security monitors shows that everything in this building is silent and still, except for a single sign going haywire. I've seen signs twisting around from the air conditioning before, but this looks a little different. The back and forth swaying seems very deliberate, almost as if an invisible force is hanging off of it. I don't have much more information about this video, aside from it taking place somewhere in Singapore. Let me know what you think of it. A YouTuber named Jem Parks lost his grandmother over 10 years ago, but her spirit still appears to linger in her old empty property, which his family has maintained ever since her passing. Jem Parks timidly enters the house and crosses the living room, walking by her wooden rocking chair. Doors keep slamming shut wherever he goes. It's almost as if his grandmother wants her privacy, or maybe she is trying to keep him away from something she doesn't want him to see. Then, as Jem Parks turns a corner, he records this. A pale figure peers at him from the darkened doorway on the right. Here it is again if you missed it. The obvious explanation is special effects, but the answer no one, not even Jem Parks, wants to accept is that this could be the twisted incarnation of his grandmother. Mother Nature sometimes digs up monsters. That was the case during the 2011 tsunami in Japan. This scary video is proof that there are plenty of species in our oceans that we haven't yet met. The clip shows floodwaters tearing through the Japanese coast. Well, this is disturbing enough. Don't be distracted by all the debris. Instead, look closely at this waterway. What looks to be either translucent vapor or a big spout of water shoots up in the air like a geyser before vanishing like a ghost. Some are saying it is a ghost, while others think it's a propane tank discharging when its regulator was torn off. A few people think it may be marine life with highly effective camouflage skills. Where do you land in this debate? My guess is something paranormal. Have you ever watched a clip that terrified you so much that you just had to share it with a friend? That's definitely the case for this video, posted to YouTube by Mysterious Things in February of 2020. The footage purports to show an unknown flying object flying in broad daylight above Quebec City. From far away, the figure in the sky appears to be dressed in white and launching upward. Upon closer, unfocused and wavering inspection, the unknown flying object does indeed look like a human figure dressed in white. At times, its clothing shines luminescent, while the figure spins, launching into the sky. When the camera gets in closer and more focused, the figure looks even more dramatic. It appears to be on fire. If that's not in fact Iron Man, as YouTuber Graham Sherwood suggests in the comments, perhaps it could be a meteor headed towards Earth, while other commenters say this is impressive and looks legit. YouTuber Damian Torres is more skeptical, suggesting it looks like silver helium balloons with the sun reflecting off of it. What do you think? Is this just a mistaken balloon, or do you think this unknown flying object is worthy of some supernatural speculation? Whatever it is, it's terrifying. Two scientists poke and prod at the body of a short, round-bellied humanoid with sharp features and a wide frown. They seem to follow a number of scientific procedures and pull out internal organs one at a time, weighing them on what I think is an old scale. The full video of this procedure is not for the squeamish. Everything looks very clinical, so I think this video has a good chance of being real. This cat is playfully smacking around a Brillo pad when it stops to look straight up, ears back, completely frozen, almost as if someone invisible is standing over it. Next, an orb floats upwards and makes it jump straight into the air. After a while, the house pet regains interest in its toy, only to stop and look around again, slightly bewildered. It looks at its owner briefly and then follows the orb with its head in a swooping motion, possibly the very same orb as before. There's no doubt that the cat sees something out of the ordinary as it tracks the orb perfectly. Both times, it completely loses interest in the toy and seems somewhat alarmed over an unseen presence. I guess there could be some other explanation, but if I was alone and saw all of this going on, I would definitely question if my house was haunted. A CCTV video captures an ill-mannered apparition as it ravages a store just 20 minutes shy of 3 a.m. It slinks across the far wall first, knocking two items off the opposite shelf as it moves down the aisle. To be honest though, the way this object on the top shelf gets caught at 13 seconds looks like it could be pulled by a string. Next, the shadow somehow passes across the aisle without appearing in the glass or the bright reflection on the floor. A minute later, the door to the cooler shakes hard enough to rattle the glass in its pane. Camera 7 shows the outside of the cooler, and camera 8 shows the inside. Nobody is anywhere nearby, or in the entire store for the matter, and yet the door shakes uncontrollably. I think this could be a real poltergeist because of one simple fact: this door is airtight to keep the drinks cold, it has no knob to grab onto, and must be opened with a button on the wall. Therefore, I don't think somebody could have made it shake like this, even if they stood on the other side and tried. You gotta pay the troll toll. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor is wondering what's watching her son and nephew from under this bridge. She explains that the pair were night fishing. When her son told the person, animal, or monster to show itself, there was no reaction. The thing they capture from beneath the bridge appears to be peeking out from behind the wall. Some say it looks human, others think it's more demonic. But Redditor user unknown writes, what many are thinking, I wouldn't stick around to find out. Neither would they apparently, because according to the Redditor, the pair fled, but behind him they heard clicking noises and something bashing through the trees, perhaps a troll after his hard-earned cash. Mr. Green published this video in 2016. His description reads, just a normal night with me, the missus, and our dog Freddy. Then all of a sudden he went mental at the wall or window, and whatever it was just touched him. This is no joke, I'm freaking out. The dog is barking at the window in the beginning of the clip, then suddenly he backs away sharply and quickly. The couple believes the ghost touched their dog because of this jerking movement.
The window What the
The dog spends the remainder of the video running around the house like a madman, looking for the ghost. He's no longer barking, but he does seem very agitated. His owner tells him to calm down now, and he does seem to calm down for a moment, but when the owner picks him up to hold him, he starts barking hysterically again. What could have touched that poor dog? Was it a ghost? If it was a ghost, what did it want and where did it go? A YouTube channel called BD Ghost Hunter sent me this video of a cursed village in their home country of Bangladesh. They don't explain how or why it became cursed. Nobody ever talks about that. All anyone says is that it was abandoned long ago and that the survivors had to move across water to get away. Everyone knows not to cross the bridge because strange and scary things are waiting on the other side.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
But on this night, they want to find out what their elders won't tell them, and so they step forward. There's movement in the distance, the figure of a person in the shadows, not an animal. They approach the old building and see no one is on the roof.
জানলাটা মুভ করলো মনে হলো দেখো আল্লাহু আকবার আল্লাহু আকবার লা ইলাহা ইল্লাল্লাহু আল্লাহু আকবার লিল্লাহিল হামদ দেখো আস্তাগফিরুল্লাহ আউযু বিকালিমাতিল্লাহি তাম্মাতি মিন শাররি মা খালাক ভাই ওই জায়গায় বসে Astaghfirullah.
The BD Ghost Hunter team bravely goes upstairs to investigate the paranormal activity, and that's when things get even more bizarre.
Allahu Akbar. A'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharri al-waswasil khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas minal jinnati wan nas. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. A'udhu bi kalimatillahi tammati min sharri ma khalaq. Allahu Akbar.
Not even Google is able to translate what they are saying, so translate this next part if possible.
কাঁপতেছে কি তুমি এই জিনিসটা কি দেখছো এটা কিন্তু তোমার কি বলে মৃত্যু খাটিয়া দেখছো আল্লাহ শুধু এটাকে দেখা যাচ্ছে আল্লাহ দেখো
I'm almost positive someone is holding the chair, but no one is there when they round the corner and it's still propped up at a weird angle. Anyway, that's weird, but when they reach the balcony, where the windows first open, they find nothing wrong with them. That's when they feel the curse grow stronger and turn around. They follow the footsteps up the roof and find a door that's deadbolt locked on their side, meaning no one could have passed through. They open a rusted door and don't find much activity at first, but that all changes soon enough. A ghost slams shut the door while they are examining the object. They dare not go any further into this village and leave knowing nothing more about the place other than the legends are real. Do you believe them? I might. Orkun Isitmak is a popular YouTuber from Turkey who goes exploring on all kinds of adventures. He's one of the few people willing to take a trip to the abandoned city of Chernobyl, a place where few dare to go after a nuclear power plant meltdown in the 80s left the area covered in radiation. He brings with him a Geiger meter used to measure levels of radiation, and a couple of scary moments are caught on camera. In this spot, the meter reaches about 50 units. That doesn't sound that bad, but then I realized an X-ray only takes seconds, whereas he's probably been standing here for hours. Big difference. And when he starts to go down here...
Radyasyonun kalbine giden kapı burası. Evet. Artmaya başladı. Yok buraya asla gidemeyiz.
The Geiger meter warns him not to. This tunnel is the heart of radiation, he says, and wisely turns around. The glare is covering the screen, so I don't know how many units the meter reached, but if it was in the hundreds, then permanent damage might have already been done in that instant. Later, as he's exploring a research facility lined with jars of old specimens, he finds a room with nothing but cribs, a room that no doubt has the scariest and most mysterious backstory of all. What was this facility working on, and why would they need to keep so many kids down here? This is some of the most convincing footage I've seen in a while. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by AMRV_5, this poltergeist activity left this resident with more questions than answers. The Redditor explains that she's been living in this apartment with 2 roommates for months, and they've noticed that nothing seems to stay on the walls, from pictures to posters. Due to the home's age, they thought that a lack of insulation and drafts were causing tape and sticky tack not to stay put. After being gifted some original artwork, they put some framed pictures up on the walls with nails, but the very first night, both of the frames fell from the wall. This happened a couple of nights in a row. One night, one of the pictures started moving slightly, so the Redditor broke out her camera and captured this. The video shows the frame moving, just as they'd witnessed before. It happens several times, and then the rolling chair swivels around. No one is near it. The Redditor pleads, "Can anyone tell me what this is? What's going on here?" Well, some in the comments think there must be fishing line involved. Some are suggesting that perhaps an air vent came on. There is in fact a vent up in the corner of the room. Still, others think it could possibly be a paranormal entity. A second video seems to suggest it's the latter. In the video, the Redditor does a vent test to see if the heating cycle is causing any sort of disturbance to the frame. As she's standing there waiting for the heater to come on, a loud disturbance is heard outside her room. She heads over to investigate and finds a boot thrown on a stair below. As she's looking around, another loud bang is heard from back in her room. When she returns, the frame has fallen from the wall onto her desk. She notes that the air has not come on yet, while Redditors are convinced by the second video. Many are agreeing with then Safety 5971, who writes, "If it's fake, you still got me. What do you think? I can't think of any explanations outside of the paranormal. What hides in the shadows can oftentimes be shadows themselves." Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Mego White, the Redditor explains that she and her husband were away from home over a weekend and set up the motion detector Alfred camera app in their room for the surveillance. When they returned from their trip, they were met with this unusual and terrifying video. The clip shows a fuzzy bedroom backdropped by a doorway with either a light on beyond or a natural source of light casting inside the other room. That light shifts as something is apparently moving enough to set off the motion sensor. In fact, that something appears to pass right across the doorway, blocking out the light beyond for a moment. You can make out a distinct figure. It's more like a shadow or a vague or even invisible figure that still somehow manages to distort the light. There is definite movement, but from what, we can't know for sure. Redditor JJ740 asks if there was an intrusion, to which Meg answers that all the doors and windows were locked and nothing was missing. She also notes that strange things have been occurring in this house for a matter of months. Like what? Meg explains we can always see a shadow walking out of the office through the wall into my closet, and I always thought I was seeing things until we caught this on camera. She also says in another comment that her kids have heard people talking, and her 2-year-old has even started laughing at something in empty rooms of the home. A Redditor writes, "That's actually genuinely creepy." Of course, as with every potentially paranormal clip, you have your insect theories, but most agree that the clip looks legit and not edited or faked. What do you think? Are you freaked out? I certainly am. Lalo Escalante is a Mexican paranormal investigator, relatively new to YouTube. Escalante started his channel in October 2019. At the beginning of December 2020, Lalo and his team investigated an abandoned house in Culiacan, Mexico. Right at the beginning of this video, a couple of orbs can be spotted as the camera is showing the exterior. While they could be dismissed as dust particles, other such specks can be seen all around. The orbs in question stand out and do not resemble the other dust specks seen. Furthermore, there's no distinguishing features you would see on an insect such as wings. From this common and tame example of paranormal phenomenon, the video escalates rather quickly. Escalante is joined on this investigation by friends David Apino and Luis Fernando. Right from the get-go, Apino appears to be in a state of discomfort. He frequently clutches at his stomach and coughs, causing concern amongst the others.
¿Tú te sientes bien? ¿Te sientes bien? Porque yo como que quería vomitar, güey. ¿Estás bien, güey? ¿Estás bien, güey? Sí. ¿Seguro? No sé ni cómo vamos a llegar arriba, güey. O sea, ¿estás bien, güey? ¿Se salió que vieron, güey?
Despite him claiming to be alright, the others seem unconvinced, and soon Apino is hardly able to walk. His companions help him to a place where he can have a seat, and he stumbles as he is being led. Once they get him seated, they attempt to compose themselves when Escalante hears a noise, startling him.
Hola!
After calling out Ola, the cameraman spots a figure in a white shirt calmly walking from right to left in the background. The team quickly goes to investigate and check to see if there may be another person in the building. Entering a courtyard, they find nobody there and no sign of where the figure has gone. As they attempt to determine what they saw, their focus is broken by a strange high pitch from above them. It is difficult to fully analyze what the noise might be, as Escalante is speaking when it happens, but on closer inspection, it sounds either to be a woman giving out a quick scream sound, or the squeaking of a door or other inanimate object against either the ground or wall. Seconds later, they hear a similar noise, and this time clearly sounds like a whimper.
¡A la madre!
As they decide to re-enter the building, they hear another sound, this time like a woman either crying or laughing. By this point, they feel they are not alone and quickly duck back inside. Throughout this time, Apino continues to show signs of distress, coughing and rubbing his stomach and chest. Clearly, something is affecting him. On their way inside, they discover some evidence the place is used by vagrants, trash all over and discarded clothing. This does lead to the possibility of whatever they saw and heard could be an actual person rather than paranormal, but this doesn't make the ordeal any less scary. People can be unpredictable, and it's possible whoever may be residing there could want to protect something they have stored there. The trio soon ascends to the top floor, where they spot yet another terrifying presence.
Es que de aquí se puede ver la alberca perfectamente.
¿Qué es eso, güey? Güey. Abajo.
Below them, in the courtyard, they spotted the figure and heard the noises. They again see something staring at them. It then quickly ducks behind a wall, out of sight. They all rush down to investigate, but whatever was there has vanished. As they return to the courtyard, a loud crash is heard next to them, and even worse, Apino appears to black out.
Güey, de aquí fue, Lalo, güey, de aquí fue, güey. Fue de aquí, güey. No mames, güey, David.
His face has gone completely red, and he is out cold. Concerned for their friend's well-being, the team abandons their investigation and rushes Apino back to their car. At this point, the video ends, but captions after state Apino regained consciousness and recovered quickly. Clearly, something had affected him in the place. They never found what was spying on them, but it is safe to say it didn't want them there, and definitely succeeded in sending them hightailing it back to safety. When you're watching a poker tournament, the most drama you're expecting is an upset, a rookie beating out a world champ, but in 2010, viewers were in for an even more dramatic and frightening treat. The European Poker Tour tournament in Berlin was hijacked by armed men live on air. Not only did they pull off their heist, but they took home 242,000 euros. Although no one was seriously hurt, panic ensued and the crowd went berserk before the cameras were cut. Don't worry, the robbers were taken into custody and convicted shortly after. Their sentence, a mere 3 years locked up. Is this cat talented, or is it possessed? Published by Darl Zand in May of 2012, this couple captured their cat acting out of character, crawling between the upper door frames near the ceiling like some crazy trapeze artist. As the couple is filming, a mysterious, vibrant blue streak flies toward the camera. The cameraman sees it in the moment and comments on it.
Now that was weird.
Was that a ghost orb? Some in the comments certainly think so, but most think the cat was scared beyond measure, not possessed. The cat even appears to watch the strange orb as it flies across the room. What do you think? Scared, possessed, or something else altogether? This tiny alien-looking body was recovered in the South American desert of Atacama in 2003. Rumors quickly spread that the tiny inch being, which had gigantic pointy eye sockets and 2 missing ribs, had to be from another galaxy. DNA testing quickly revealed a different story. The small human was a member of the local population who had a rare genetic variation of dwarfism that has never been documented before. This discovery would have never been possible if not for this video to generate public interest. This video was taken in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico sometime in 2015. The person filming had been hearing loud disturbances all around his house and grabbed a camera before running outside. He is trying to track the source of the movement. It sounds almost like a squeaky trampoline. Nervous birds are chattering loudly nearby. The cameraman zooms in on some of his backyard plants, but whatever is making the noise isn't hiding there. Suddenly, a series of loud bangs come from directly above. He swings the camera around and this is what he finds. What would you do in this situation? Maybe you'd scream, run for cover, or even grab a weapon. This cameraman stands frozen in place, however, too shocked to make a sound. Suddenly, the humanoid creature scrambles over the roof and makes a hasty escape. The person runs into the house and gets away. Both of them appear to be equally afraid of each other. If this long skinny creature is not CGI, then what could it possibly be? This old house is allegedly haunted by the angry spirit of a previous inhabitant. Watch what happens in the dark basement shortly after a ghost hunter named Lylil Show sets up a camera and leaves. As soon as the lights turn off and the door shuts, an abnormal amount of orbs dance all around the camera, which then tips over. I think this is more than a coincidence because it happens within 5 seconds of his exit. Something down there obviously doesn't want to be filmed. The angry spirit resists all attempts to communicate. Here it swats an electrometer used to detect paranormal disturbances in the air. Between this and the camera falling over, I think the spirit wants to be left alone, and I think it's probably best to respect its privacy before it gets any more insistent. This YouTuber is trapped. The hungry beast shreds his backpack and smells more supplies up this tree. All it needs to do is get through this pesky human first.
Hey there. Down there.
Amazingly, the bear does as told and goes back down upon the hunter's request. I guess seeing a human talk up close like that must have freaked it out because the animal runs away before chancing a look back at the backpack laying on the ground and deciding against it. Of all the weird things I've ever seen caught on camera in the woods, this has to be one of the weirdest and scariest videos ever because there's no doubt it's absolutely real. A group of Bigfoot hunters are searching for clues deep in the woods when they come across something ominous glowing in the clear night sky.
Oh my goodness. See? Oh. 3. And in a different position.
3 orbs appear to form a mysterious triangular pattern off in the distance. Every once in a while, the light on top gets extremely bright and then fades away. They can't figure out what these lights are, and I'm not quite sure either. Tell me if you think this was an alien sighting, or maybe even some sort of experimental aircraft. All I know is that if these bizarre lights really are a regular occurrence around these woods, then maybe the idea of Bigfoot isn't so far-fetched after all. Mother deer aimlessly walks in circles while its young grazes nearby. You can tell that one of her fawns senses that something is deeply wrong with its mother at the 1 minute 23 second mark, but it can't tell exactly what the problem is. Judging from the deer's high steps in low grass, it seems to have some sort of neurological problem, most likely CWD. According to the uploader, the mother deer wandered over to a nearby creek and fell into the water. She was unable to lift her neck out of the shallow water and passed away. They have been leaving some corn for the fawn to survive on. Hopefully they do not get CWD as well. A telephone pole goes down, leaving wires scattered across the road. Witnesses are calling police when somebody makes the curious mistake of walking up close for a better look.
That's the whole point. It's all I'm supposed to be around electricity.
I'm not exaggerating when I say a bolt of electricity could shoot through this line and strike him down. The wire he steps over at 14 seconds is the same wire shown here at 6 seconds, still connected to the pole. This person should be nowhere near the area. Downed power lines are extremely hazardous because they can still be active, and there's no way to tell until it's too late. He's extremely lucky he's alive, and I'm surprised nobody in these cars were shouting at him to get back. If you see a situation like this, never do what this person does, or it could be your last moments on Earth. Every day, this YouTuber has a neighbor challenge him to come outside of his apartment to settle an imaginary score. Just to be completely clear, these people have never interacted before. This still doesn't stop her from bothering him outside of his door almost every day. At times it seems as if she imagines an answer from him. Like this part, for example. I think she hears something in her own mind, tells him to try it, and then hears another response that never happened. Perhaps weirdest of all is how the videos are dated throughout November and December, yet she always appears to be wearing the same outfit. Perhaps she is past the point of keeping basic hygiene habits and needs to be taken somewhere safe that can care for her. In the meantime, I hope she gets the help she needs. An outdoor restaurant is about to be creepy, and it's all caught on CCTV tape. This top right couple seems to be having an intense conversation. At 10 seconds, there's some chest pounding on both sides. It looks like a bad breakup or something until 25 seconds when he stands up and is ready to storm out, but then points at the food lodged in his throat. They weren't having an argument at all. He was slowly becoming more and more unable to breathe. She starts patting him on the back, but apparently this is a big mistake. I am not giving any medical advice, but the Mayo Clinic says not to do this unless you're trained to deliver a special back blow between the shoulder blades. From what I've read, patting someone on the back can sometimes make the food move further down the windpipe and get even more stuck. A brave restaurant worker gets behind him, makes a fist with one hand slightly above the belly button, grabs his fist and gives a quick upward thrust as if picking him off the ground for a moment. This is called the Heimlich maneuver, and it's a good thing somebody in the restaurant knew it. Most states have laws in place for restaurant staff to have this kind of training, and this scary scenario caught on tape is exactly why. I encourage everyone to get the proper training because you never know when this could happen to someone nearby, maybe even you. There must be no scarier feeling than having an entire crowd watch you helplessly while you can't breathe. This man who helped him is truly a hero. A ghost hunting channel called Hunting the Haunted investigates an old abandoned farmhouse and gets plenty of paranormal activity caught on tape. In the kitchen, they see a possible ghost orb appear while Jay is asking questions.
What's your name?
As soon as I turned around, like he was right behind me.
This could be a gnat, except it shows up when Jay wants to know the spirit's name, and while Jay talks about something appearing behind him, the light anomaly appears behind him and goes away. Another ghost orb floats up upon the mention of this word.
Did I say
yes?
This is definitely a creepy place at night.
They go investigating the surrounding property.
That's what I'm saying.
I swear there was a woman.
At 31 minutes and 42 seconds, and again at 34 minutes and 20 seconds, they hear a woman's laughter.
I'm telling you, I heard something. I heard a woman or something.
You said say that again, and then I heard like a high-pitched...
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I was
going to say something.
Yeah.
A mysterious figure is illuminated despite being beyond the reach of their light. There's really nothing else. It could be because nothing is out there, at least nothing that should be reflecting light.
You know what else I don't hear?
What?
I don't hear that owl no more.
Peace out.
And when they turn to leave, this unexplained light suddenly blinks out. As soon as it does, the same ghost orb from the kitchen returns for one last look. Somehow they miss all these brief ghost sightings at the time, but it's caught on camera for them to later discover. This happens a few minutes after they hear the woman laugh, so they suspect this encounter is paranormal, and I'd have to agree.
Do you hear that?
Aries Safari 13 and their friend hear a mysterious knocking on the door of the laundry room. Listen again.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
That's not a washing machine, that's knocking. They go to the door and there's nothing there as far as I can tell, but that doesn't mean there isn't a ghost in the hallway haunting them. When they go up to the door, it stops, but that just makes this TikTok video even scarier in my opinion, because it's like the ghost is messing with them. You may remember this story from one of my previous videos, where Steve Ronan and his group of friends found a lost girl in a deep underground cave. One of the people with him was fellow YouTuber Exploring with Josh, and we can analyze his footage of the event for more clarity on what happened. The group stumbled upon this scared girl while exploring the cave, and they reunite her with her parents. What remains unclear is how this girl managed to wander so deep into the cave with no flashlight or supplies.
We were so curious to know what was through this tunnel. This is crazy, man. It's okay. It's alright. This is the way back.
Numerous news agencies have now covered the story, with none being able to offer an explanation. Nevertheless, she was clearly lost, and if it wasn't for these YouTubers saving the day, she may have never made it out of that cave. Imagine running into this creature in a dark rainforest at night.
Gak usah turun dari situ saja. Bisa sampean turun. Sayanya soalnya yang takut.
YouTuber Only Menopore Collection Sap posted this creepy video in July of 2019, adorned in white with pale skin and black hair. This forest dweller is the thing of horror movies. One of the brave men approaches it, his hand upheld in full view in an attempt to pacify the figure. As he closes in on her, the figure just stands, its head wagging side to side slightly. Then suddenly it sinks to the ground, vanishing from view. Later in the video, they come across some other forest being, this one dressed in white. Again, the man approaches it as it stands in place, then it too vanishes from view. What are these ghouls of the forest? Are they good or evil? And what is their motive? These are questions better left unanswered. This footage comes from a convenience store in India after it was captured by an old security camera late one night. An orb glows with bright intensity as it glides around the empty store at random. The next day, a group of workers watch the tapes in amazement. I normally don't include orb videos because they tend to look all the same to me, but this video looks a little different. First, it seems to match the same grainy footage of the CCTV system very well. Second, the sides of the orb appear to be shimmering in a random pattern that would be hard to fake. If anyone can translate what they are saying in this video, then please let me know. Also, tell me if it sounds like they are legitimately surprised or just acting. After cutting a giant hole into a concrete wall, YouTuber Cyrex686 climbs through the hole to show us the secret room he's found beyond the wall. It's not big, but it is something, he says, noting that there's an unconnected pipe coming diagonal down the wall in the room. In one corner of the ceiling, there's a hook. At another point in the wall, another pipe juts out but leads nowhere. A pile of wood is piled on the ground, tied with a length of rope. The point of this secret room is unclear. Whether it has no utility or some secret use, we may never know. It is said that evil resides here. This paranormal explorer is about to greet it. Ricky Velasquez seems to sense this reputed evil early on. He then senses this hiding under a bench. While outside the structure, he hears a hushed whining or whimpering. Shortly after, he hears what sounds like a bottle being kicked. Back inside, he senses something in his presence again, and then on an upper floor, this unexplained sound. Is evil still lingering? Ricky isn't the only one who can feel it. Redditor Wayne Bruce 11 was wondering why the TV was on in the morning and on a channel no one in the household ever watched. That's when he checked his security camera. It captured this at around 3 in the morning. Something has turned on the news. Well, I think this could definitely just be a connection or technical problem. The Redditor says they've been dealing with this ghost for 15 years. At least, the ghost's worst roommate faux pas is only late night TV watching. Zayneo barely manages to turn his live stream on and say hello before something unexplainably paranormal happens behind him. The window somehow goes from being tightly shut to wide open in less than 10 seconds without a sound. If I'm not mistaken, this type of window doesn't even open from the outside, meaning that somebody had to be standing in the room to even push it open. Zayneo quickly searches his house in less than a minute and finds no one else is home, but when he crosses into the living room, the batteries in his smoke alarm go off for no reason at all. I know this part is real because this is the first time you hear the smoke alarm beep in the entire video.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Smoke alarm malfunction?
The smoke alarm going off, combined with the window opening by itself, is enough to convince me that this is probably paranormal. A video has gone viral all throughout Indonesia because it's so scary. According to the uploader, Ari Abdul Rohim, a jinn is about to gain possession over an innocent man. An unseen force pulls his foot and then sits him up. It might be acting, but if so, he's really good. He appears to go into a meditative trance to calm himself down. It appears to work, or maybe the jinn has already moved to new prey. I will admit that this is some of the best evidence I've seen that possessions can be transmitted just by being in the same room. I want to believe they're acting, but it's hard to fake that level of anguish and fear. So either this video is paranormal or a demonstration of how fear is contagious. Two school custodians are standing in the middle of a creepy old boiler room. One of them is the supervisor, and he was called in after his coworker said that she saw objects moving around on their own. He records the situation for legal workplace reasons, and the two of them reluctantly investigate.
All right, hang on, just wait.
I don't want to go back there.
Let me just take a look. Now, you say what happened now?
This door shut by itself. Itself, Dave.
All right.
The supervisor doesn't see anything out of the ordinary, and he reassures his coworker that everything is okay. He encourages her to go deeper into the boiler room and get something that she needs, and that's when things go wrong.
Is there anybody back here? Go ahead.
No.
What's that? Oh my.
A metallic chair scrapes towards them on its own and they both fall back. I guess the supervisor could have pulled on a string, but I think the chair moves a farther distance than he would have been able to pull judging from where he was standing. This video was supposedly taken by a robotic camera while surveying an old oil tanker. A school of fish briefly swims in front of the camera, and suddenly one of the fish gets nailed by a spear in front of the camera. Something fast swims by to collect the fish shortly after. Many people believe that this video demonstrates the possibility of some kind of advanced sea creature who uses tools to hunt. After all, there's no reason for a person to be this far underwater hunting with a spear, and whatever moves in front of the camera is too fast to be a person. Of course, the obvious answer is CGI, but I would love to get your thoughts. A YouTuber named Alex Hayes and his friends find a cool looking stone perch overlooking the beach below. The good weather has them in high spirits, and it isn't long before they are playing around near the ledge. Alex wants to impress everyone with a headstand, but it doesn't exactly work out as planned.
Holy oh, don't do that to me. Oh my goodness. Holy oh.
Pause here and you'll see how close Alex was to tumbling over. He barely catches himself with his right hand, and if his right leg went back any further, then he would have definitely lost his balance. A team of ghost investigators patrol through a dark farmhouse at 3 a.m. and set up their equipment. Suddenly, their thoughts are interrupted by an overwhelmingly powerful force.
Push this over here to jump up there.
What's that?
What was that?
An adjacent door flies open soon as they shine their flashlight up into the attic. The team feels like they are being watched from something outside. They're talking about what to do next when they witness another display of brute force.
We get to experience an EVP session in a creepy abandoned house.
Something smashes the window out and they see what appears to be a white apparition slowly walking away. The object has no distinct shape and somehow seems to be both near and far at the same time.
What the is that? Holy shit! There's somebody out there!
All of them scramble to the car and take one last look as they leave. It's really hard to see, but zoom in on the window and you'll see a head move away on the left side. Let me know if you see what I mean or not. These bizarre chittering noises, recorded in the middle of the woods at almost 3 a.m., were loud enough to rattle the glass of the window in its pain. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because the uploader is certain that this is a skinwalker. I personally have no idea what a skinwalker even sounds like, but if this person lives in the woods and has never heard anything like this before, then I have no reason to doubt them. A father and son ghost hunting team are at an old graveyard somewhere in the south. They stumble upon a child's tombstone and get to work. The son attempts to communicate with the passed on child by planting an old pinwheel in the ground.
If there's a child out here that wants to play with this toy, feel free to make it move.
The father says that there is absolutely no wind on this night, so the pinwheel should not be able to move. To prove there is no wind, he records a tall blade of grass next to the tombstone and clearly shows that it's not moving. This child's gravestone is from the late 1800s. Pinwheels were probably very popular during this time, so it makes sense that the spirit would be excited and ready to play. Once you've investigated enough haunted places, you're bound to encounter a shadow figure or two. YouTuber Dennis from Dark Life faces off with one in this haunted house. Did you see it? There's definitely something there, but it's not there for long. After it crosses the room, it vanishes completely. I think this demon won't reveal its full nature. At this point, he is but a shadow. The Camino de la Muerte, or Road of Fate, lies in Bolivia along a 50-mile rocky narrow downhill road. The pass is so dangerous that the Inter-American Development Bank deemed it the most dangerous in the world in 1995. Somewhere between 200 to 300 people perish each year on this road. In this video, a bus driver attempts to traverse it to his own detriment. The road, which had recently suffered heavy rain, was prone to landslides, making the crossing even riskier business than usual. After ordering his passengers off the bus for safety's sake, they watch in terror as the driver attempts to creep across a very shaky and crumbling stretch of sand and rock, one that should not be crossed. The passengers attempt to help guide him, with one man in the video moving forward to motion that the driver move further away from the edge. It appears as if the bus will be successful in completing this crossing. But suddenly, the ground crumbles beneath it, and the bus tips, falling over the cliff, through the trees, and down the mountain. While it's fortunate that the 50 passengers survived their devastating journey, sadly, their driver did not. Credited to Instagram account It's SoSoG. These strange lights have me questioning everything. The dull lights move sporadically across the sky, darting all over with no rhyme or reason. They then disappear altogether in the clouds. Being that this was filmed in Calgary, I think these might be spotlights from the Calgary Stampede, an annual rodeo that takes place in July. Then again, maybe it's what Instagrammer Christian Mukele suggests in the comments, saying our alien masters are about to reveal themselves. Okay then, we're waiting. The Paranormal Boys experience crazy paranormal activity in this place frozen in time. As they're speaking to the spirits, they hear something.
Did you hear that?
That was definitely a knock. Later, using a spirit box app, they capture this. As they continue speaking, they're sent some terrifying messages.
If you're in this room, can you affect some of the devices we put down? Where are you, Tom? Was that Ben?
And then the spirits respond directly.
Copy this. You joking me? Did you hear that?
Still, it warns them.
Hey? Yeah, it's just sitting in the middle of the sofa. What was that? Dead. Dead?
There's someone upstairs.
Can you hear that up there? Living. Can you hear that up there? Living.
Since the team won't listen to the spirit's warnings, it takes matters into its own hands.
I thought you pushed my arm then. Something just... Jeffrey. Something just pushed my arm.
What pushed his arm? I think it was Jeffrey. But in the end, it could be any one of the demons haunting this place. A YouTube channel called Proving Demons seeks to do just that with the help of a mystery box on eBay. Proving Demons and his assistant travel to a well-known haunted house in the area and hold the unboxing ceremony there. 3 items in particular grab their attention: an antique bell, an old necklace, and a wooden box with a pentagram on top. Using an EVP box, they hold up each item one at a time and ask each spirit to say the name of the item they are possessing. Tell me if you hear the same thing they are claiming to hear during this part.
There it was. Said necklace again, clear.
They do the same thing with the antique bell and seem to get another positive response. Then they decide to ask the spirit for its name, but only receive an old woman's laugh in return.
That sounded like an old lady's laugh.
And when they try to do the same thing with the pentagram box, this is the single word reply. It certainly seems like whatever is haunting this house doesn't like what's in that box. Don't look behind you. This scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. After witnessing something terrifying, this man flees to his car, but that something is there waiting for him. The creepy video, originally posted to TikTok by elkakoi.tv, also reveals what initially scared the man. But as we already know how it ends, the man clearly has nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. If I were him, I'd be getting the heck out of that house ASAP. On May 11th, 2020, this boy in Texas walked up to his parents after collecting a bucket full of these strange creatures. He was using a small plastic toy shovel. Had he used his hands, he might not have survived. If you ever see one of these strange sea creatures washed up on the beach, don't ever try to pick it up. They're called blue dragons, and as the name in bright blue colors should warn you, their toxic wrath will mess you up quick. Sometimes. I say sometimes because grabbing one leaves a 50-50 chance of you writhing in the worst pain of your life, worse than a giant jellyfish or even a stingray, or you won't feel anything at all. That's because these sea slugs feed on much larger venomous prey like jellyfish. They take the venom of their prey and store it to be used against larger threats like us, for example. Their supercharged sting feels like the wrath of a dragon as a result, and how much damage it does to humans depends on how recently they've feasted. Blue dragons have been known to wash ashore and cause major problems for anyone unfortunate enough to walk through a patch of them like this one. They also float upside down and can be easy for swimmers to miss in the shimmering sea until it's too late and they are burning all over. A group of them are called a blue fleet. If accidentally brushing up against a single one is worse than a school of jellyfish, imagine how a whole fleet would feel. The science world acknowledges this creature has enough venom to potentially end your life, and if that possibility doesn't make them one of the scariest things you can find at the beach, I don't know what does. No actual cases like that have been documented yet, so stay far away from them and you won't be the first. This resident office ghost is unusually helpful. Posted to the paranormal evidence subreddit by Nice Socks Dude, the ghost here opens filing cabinet drawers so that you don't have to. In the video, the bottom drawer of the cabinet slowly opens. When the cameraman pushes it closed, the upper drawer then slowly slides forward. Push closed again. Both drawers slide open on their own. The cameraman pushes them closed again, but they both again open, one after the other. Some in the comments think the load is too heavy. They might be spring-loaded or off balance, or the entire building's foundation has sunk, but at least one Redditor agrees that it's a ghost. Do you think this office is haunted? If that's the case, at least this ghost is helpful. A woman by the name of Cecilia Carasso in Chile strode past the reception desk at a law office in 2015 when she was attacked by something invisible. As you watch the CCTV video, Cecilia is strolling with a young woman towards the reception desk when she reportedly felt something push her with such force that it caused her to fall backwards hard. You can see Cecilia chatting with the woman and gesturing at something when suddenly, out of nowhere, she falls flat on her back. She doesn't just slip, she absolutely appears as though she was pushed. I wasn't aware of anyone in front of me as I passed the reception desk talking to a girl, and as I looked up towards the receptionist, I suddenly felt 2 pairs of hands shove me over, Cecilia said. She later added, I hit the floor, and when I looked up, I couldn't see anybody, and I thought they must have run off. When Cecilia asked the receptionist who had pushed her, she was told that nobody had. Cecilia didn't believe the receptionist until she was shown footage of the incident. After seeing it, she was sure that she had been the victim of a ghost attack, since there was absolutely nobody around her. Cecilia's doctors reported that her injuries were consistent with a fall, but that she'd also received a large blow to the head, which may have caused confusion about what she felt and about her injuries, but that doesn't explain what happened in this creepy CCTV footage. A creepy video's freaking out fans of a celebrity in India named Riya Chakraborty. She's likened the hotel room she's been staying to living in a horror film. Creepiest of all is this sentence that reads, "This is my 3rd room change. Electrical problems could explain problems from the 1st room, maybe the 2nd, but 3 times is a bit much." Assuming the hotel staff checked the rooms for problems beforehand, which you think they would do, especially for a celebrity, then you have to wonder if the paranormal problem lies within her. It is possible that something within her is triggering paranormal activity while staying at a haunted hotel. I fear so. You may be a skeptic, but if you had to choose a place with all the makings of a haunting, it would probably be a hospital. After all, hospitals are the setting in which many souls depart this earth and enter the afterlife, whatever that may be, but sometimes it seems they stay. Published to YouTube in February of 2020, this clip is part of a series of clips entitled The Haunted Hospital Case. The footage shows a hospital that appears to be empty. A trash can stands in the corner and its lid starts to flip repeatedly. The lid doesn't appear to be mechanical, so who or what is causing it to rotate? But it's not just the lid, watch beyond. A paranormal figure jogs past. The figure seems to be in the shape of a young girl, however she is entirely cast in shadow, apart from a small blip of white sneakers. Do you think this might be one of the aforementioned souls? If so, where is she running off to? Or what is she running from? Steve and Jake are wandering around the woods one summer night with a single goal in mind. They want to explore an abandoned local chapel that's rumored to be haunted. As they approach, they see that someone has written prayers and warnings all over the outside wall. The 2 friends instantly get a bad feeling about this adventure, but they swallow their fear and decide to press on. The rickety main door is locked, so they sneak around back. Already, they don't want to be here much longer. They had explored an old clock tower earlier in the day and were greatly disappointed by a lack of paranormal activity, but they could tell this church is way different. The place looked and felt quite haunted. They go up some wooden steps and enter through the back door. They shine their flashlights deep into the church's main assembly. There's rows and rows of wooden pews ahead of them. They pass by a podium and notice a piano. Then they head deeper inside. Now they find themselves inside of a small maintenance closet. They close the door behind them because they don't want anyone sneaking up on them. It feels like anyone could be watching them right now. They see a ladder to the left. Steve is about to climb it until Jake jokes that a body is going to fall down on him if he does, so he decides not to. That's when the piano starts to play from outside.
Oh no. Oh my god, turn off the light, turn off the light. Listen, listen. It's the piano. Is that piano? Come on. Should we go out there? Is that door open?
It's a soft and haunting piano melody that fills the church. Steve and Jake shut off their flashlights and keep recording. They debate whether or not they should go outside or stay here, where it's semi-safe. They realize that they can't spend the entire night trapped in the broom closet of a haunted church, so they turn their flashlights back on to see who is playing. Sitting at the piano at the far end of the room is a black hunched over phantom. They scream and shut the door. Jake cries for a bit, then they run away through the back exit. The music stops as soon as they leave the church. They were hoping that the music stopped because it was over, but in reality, it was because the ghost had gotten up from the piano to chase them. They run a good distance before pausing to look back into the dark scenery. It seems like they've gotten away, but then the ghost finds them and they run away screaming. The camera cuts cuts off as they fall back deeper into the woods. At least one of them survived and uploaded this video onto YouTube, where it's remained for the past 10 years. A statue seated on a throne seems to track a museum visitor with its head for 7 seconds as they pass by. The camera is shaky, so let's check out these still images. Here it is with its head slightly turned to look at him when he first enters. And here it is at 47 seconds looking at him from the center of the room. Approximately 20 seconds later, a different statue shown here is seen lifting its arm. A YouTuber named Combo Hugs notices a burly man acting very out of place in his apartment complex. For starters, he is peeking from around a corner and behind a bush with his phone.
Look at him. He's been sitting there taking pictures with his phone and watching people at the pool since like 10 minutes ago when I was walking my dog.
According to Combo Hugs, the man would act like he was busy on his phone whenever someone walked by, only to resume his photographic activities once they'd passed a safe distance. I will say that I did notice some small children in this video, which is why I'm glad Combo Hugs called the police and alerted the apartment manager shortly after recording this as evidence. A YouTuber named Frosty Flakes is searching for elk in the woods of Imnaha, Oregon, when his elk whistle attracts a pack of hungry wolves. Soon they find themselves surrounded and have to step carefully. They are way outnumbered and the wolves sound very close by, ferocious and closing in fast.
They're exactly on opposite sides of us.
Every time they stop to gain a sense of direction, they can hear the wolves combing through the area where they just were. And I think this is where the pack decides not to pursue any further and lets them off with a warning howl. They sound close enough to charge the entire time, yet hidden so well in their surroundings that you would never know where to even look until it was already too late. As a parent, often you must keep your fear inside for the sake of your children. If you want to know how, take a master class from this dad, posted by Matt to World in February of 2016. The uploader writes in Spanish, a video that I took of a paranormal phenomenon that occurs in a neighborhood of Greater Buenos Aires. The video appears to show a father and son watching TV. The father apparently feels the urge to go check on something in the room next door. When he first looks in, apart from a strange sheet appearing to cover something in the middle of the floor, nothing seems abnormal. It also looks like two figures are asleep in opposite beds. He returns to his son, checks the bathroom and the kitchen, and swings back to the room where the light fixture is still swinging around. Then the sheet suddenly collapses. Apparently it was covering nothing. A nearby broom falls to the ground, and then someone in the bed moves. Somehow the father remains incredibly calm, as if this is an everyday occurrence, and from the sounds of it, it might be. In the comments, Matsu World suggests the man's calm reaction to the ghost was in order to not scare his son. Matt claims this is just one of the frightening anomalies that occurred to the family in this home. He also says they ended up moving, as they'd suffered enough. After seeing this single event, I don't think I'd stay in that house a moment longer. Have you ever gone on a real-life witch hunt? Way of Vlogs has, and he published his scary encounter in June of 2016 writing, "Finally found where the witch has been living." The YouTuber must have posted other videos of the witch prior to searching for her abode. In this footage, he claims that these stick crosses that he's come across in the woods indicate where the witch he encountered is living. He says there's logs in this wooded area and ceremonial things, although none of that is shown. Then he points out the strangest thing, a teepee made of sticks. As he's filming the teepee, something sets him on edge. He pans around and off to the left stands a woman with jet black hair dressed in white. She's unmoving, but her presence there is unnerving enough to make the YouTuber hightail it out of there. What would you do if you came across this lady in the forest at night? A YouTuber named Bad Choice Noah decides to live up to his name by feeding his huge collection of snakes alone in the dark at 3 a.m. He's hoping to catch something paranormal on video while he's at it, but something almost catches him instead.
Go, Ricky. Oh, God, I almost just got destroyed by him.
The large snake misses its target and nearly peels out of its container onto the floor. Noah's incredibly lucky to have pulled his hand away in time, or the snake would have had that to bite on instead. Caden Parker meets up with some friends at a local skate park and finds someone much older trying to pick arguments with everyone he sees.
Big man! Who's big man? You, right? I'm going for a sleeper.
Dude, come on. Can you just leave us alone? We're just trying to have a good time, enjoying the nice weather.
Who cares? I'm going for a sleeper.
Soon he turns his attention towards Caden and tells him he's going to put him in a submission hold if he comes down from the ramp. By now the skate park has mostly cleared out, so it's just a face-off between Caden and this angry stranger.
Dude, the police are on the way. I hope you know that.
I hope so. We have a problem. I didn't insult individual at the
skate park.
And he's kind of picked fights with little kids. All right then. Might as well make it worth it.
Yo, tell him to send an officer ASAP.
An officer shows up right before things get any more out of hand. I really don't think this is a fake video because the officer walks up and puts him in cuffs straight away. Apparently he has a long history of doing this and nobody seems to be acting. After he's taken away, the park fills back up with people who are scared away. Caden Parker shows a lot of bravery standing up for them, as well as self-restraint by not stepping forward when challenged. Had this escalated, he could be in as much trouble as the person who is actually in the wrong. He did everything right in my opinion, and is allowed to enjoy the rest of his day peacefully as a result. Sometimes paranormal clips will make you doubt, other times they'll make you believe. This one belongs in the latter category. A Paranormal Journey published this spine-tingling footage in February of 2019, stating that after returning from a break in their investigation, they captured this. In entering a dark room that looks a bit like an attic, the cameraman walks a few steps before muttering and stumbling. What did he see? A close-up shows a slow-moving, full-bodied apparition glide past in the back of the room. The uploader states that seconds after capturing this clip, they heard running footsteps and a loud bang.
Someone running. Jeez. Hello?
They claim the building was locked and the only ones there were the two of them. They shout hello, but no one answers. Those in the comments agree that they should have tracked whatever it was down, human or apparition. YouTuber Kevin Salter wrote, "I usually sit on the fence when it comes to stuff like this, but after seeing this footage this morning, it gave me the shivers. Great footage." What do you think? Is this figure a squatter or a ghost? This video, supposedly taken somewhere along the beaches of New York in 1959, shows an unknown creature washed ashore. It looks like it could belong to some sort of primate species, but its torso is a little too long and its arms are a little too short, plus its entire body is nothing but pure muscle, almost like it's been experimented on. In fact, a closer look reveals that this creature shares the combined characteristics of many different animals, everything from a panther to a bear. If this video is to be believed, then this creature hails from a mysterious nearby research facility called the Plum Island Animal Disease Center. Maybe it escaped the island on its own, or maybe it was improperly disposed of by workers after they were finished with it. Either way, what purpose it served, and what it has been infected with, if anything, has never been revealed. I do think there's a possibility that this video is fake though, because it kind of looks like it was filmed in high definition with a grainy filter. Either way, let me know what you think about its authenticity. A wild dog takes a piece of meat into the corner and devours it in large bites. The dog's ribs jut out, and I'm willing to bet it hasn't seen a meal like this in a long time. It's no doubt willing to do whatever to keep this food, and in a moment you're about to see for yourself. The animal tenses up and then charges the camera. At the 6-second mark, you can see it appears to chomp the fence in an attempt to get to them. Luckily, the cameraman appears to be alright. It's not surprising to most of us when schools are haunted. Just think of all the evil that goes on there. Posted by Dundee into the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor writes that this is from his old middle school, a Coal River Heights school, and was taken in 2013 or 14. This short video appears to show a phantom in the hallway of the middle school. It floats past unsuspectingly, appearing for only a couple seconds before vanishing out of sight. Dundee provides further details of the video's origin in the comments of this clip, explaining who is behind it. All I really know of it is that it was my friend's mom who knew the janitor, and he sent her the video of this. I'm guessing that he wasn't sure that he could record the screen somehow. Redditor Windtree Rock then wondered what the janitor's backstory was, as he was curious why the janitor took the video, and if he suspected paranormal activity. Without this information, skeptics in the comments suspect this is a bug, thinking it's a spider. Others are leaning towards the paranormal, with many expressing fear of what this is. Are you afraid? Nursing homes are rife with elderly spirits that just cannot move on. This surveillance footage may have caught one of them. Posted to YouTube by Rice RV4 in September of 2012, this clip is surveillance footage of the Niles Nursing Center, as indicated by the sign in the hallway. The clip shows the elevator door drawing open with no one exiting. Then off to the right, what appears to be a cane slides across the floor in the hallway. It also moves to one side apparently on its own, before several people are seen passing through the hallway, and someone finally picks the cane up and places it out of harm's way, leaning it against the wall. The cane then disappears altogether without anyone making an appearance. YouTube commenters suggest that the ghost may have been trying to trip people with the placement of the cane. One commenter in particular, Siege Crows, suggests that they have some inside info on the case. He writes, "Super surprised that this got out after how hard the nurses and the people are trying to keep it a secret." In response to this, YouTuber Silent Night Crew states that he was an off-duty cop working security the night that this happened, and the man who leaked it was fired. Whether or not this is true, I think it's safe to say you wouldn't want to be working security when something like this happens. Something is manifesting in this abandoned hospital. YouTuber Lalo Escalante captured this creepy entity on camera during a paranormal investigation. The spirit there does not want to let them in.
Haz algo, pues. Mames, güey, yo me voy a la mierda de aquí, güey. No, güey. No, yo me voy, güey. No, el tercer piso está más cabrón.
But it is there. See it lurking at the end of this hallway?
¿Qué es eso? Hola. Viste a la verga, güey. Viste a la verga, güey. Dale, güey. Dale, nadie, güey.
When they enter the room, they find nothing, but the spirit continues to play.
Güey, tocaron la puerta, güey. Aquí donde siente más, güey.
And then they see it again.
¿Está aquí con nosotros? Hola. Nothing, mira, güey. Abajo el vidrio. Nothing, mira, güey. Cerró la puerta.
But it always somehow evades them. The spirit again disappears.
Hey, se estaba subiendo. Bestia, güey. ¿Quién está ahí?
Only to make one last spooky cameo. What does this spirit want? To me, it's difficult to tell if this is even a spirit at all. It looks solid and moves like a human. Then again, it disappears in a way that's unbelievable. It could go either way for me. What do you think is going on here? Bugs are awful on their own, but swarms of them. What a nightmare. Published to YouTube in June of 2018, Phelan Fairchild writes that mayflies swarm in from the lake every year and have to be snowplowed off roads and walkways. The video shows Fairchild's front desk absolutely littered with the bugs. At first you think they're a pile of fall leaves or other debris, but upon closer inspection, you can see, as Fairchild points out, hundreds of thousands of bugs all over the place. They're on the deck floor, on the front door, on the window, and on the entire exterior of this poor woman's house. Fairchild notes that the spiders are having a heyday with this. You can't look away from this creepy sight. Fairchild says that it stinks and will be hard to clean up. It's not noted where she lives, but mayflies do appear near fresh water and are signs of a healthy water ecosystem. Swarms like this one can last for up to a month. Seems like a summer holiday abroad is in order. YouTube team Extinct File explores an abandoned mansion where they're tormented by ghost children. Inside the dark and dreary place, they find this unsettling picnic.
Madres, güey. Comida.
They turn toward another room and a moment later see this.
Ay, Dios. No mames.
After a while, they hear some barking in the distance and then something much closer.
Todo esto es de mármol, güey. Todo esto.
As they head upstairs to investigate, this happens.
Ay, Dios. No te pases de lanza. No mames. No mames.
Later, they try to communicate with the ghost children.
Que se quiera comunicar con nosotros.
This is what they saw.
Hijo del...
Did you see it too? I'm pretty certain that was a ghost child, and if it was, the crew had better watch their backs. A YouTuber named Nick makes it clear from the beginning that he does not believe in Bloody Mary in the slightest. He turns the lights off, and then 3 times in a row he sarcastically says,
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. See guys, like I said.
Before he has a chance to finish his sentence, the figure touches him and he falls to the floor. If this was real, exactly how this video was recorded or uploaded remains a mystery, as it looks like Nick might not have pulled through. That's what this YouTuber thinks about Bloody Mary after making this video. He says her name way more than 3 times, and then begins to taunt her out loud.
Are you real Bloody Mary, or are you just a joke? Did y'all just hear that?
Still not convinced, the brave teen says her name some more and waits. It isn't long before he gets his reply.
Do that. What's going on here?
Drawers are opening on their own, the faucet turns on, and he soon concludes that Bloody Mary is very real after all. He goes to grab the door and finds that it won't budge. He puts his hands on top of his head now, obviously distressed. Just when he is sure that he's a goner, he manages to open the door and make an escape. Kazzy is with Danny Dorito and Ali H to find evidence of a spirit that they think is haunting not just this house, but most of the surrounding forest as well. They come across a ritual that someone left behind for some reason, possibly in a hurry. They figure out how to complete it and hear a noise shortly after reciting these ancient words, which I'm hoping someone who happens to practice magic might be able to recognize and tell us more.
Rolf, Niap, Ro.
They decide to leave everything behind and are well on their way back home when something ahead interrupts their hike.
Hello? Holy you saw that, right? You saw
At 4 minutes, I can see what appears to be a normal pair of white tennis shoes that kind of looks out of place, so I'm not exactly convinced that this is real. This creepy night witch has never once left her shack, published by Kisa Weba in November of 2021. This scary video has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. The video's creator, Luan Mendez, and his paranormal team to investigate this home in which a number of strange and unexplainable events have occurred. What they found will give you chills. The crew is in the yard, which is packed with a bunch of rusty junk piled up. A loud banging is heard somewhere in the vicinity. But they don't capture its source on the first camera. A second camera captures the same banging from a different angle, but again the source is unknown. A figure is caught in the beam of the cameraman's flashlight when he turns around after running away from the noise, but it's unclear if the figure is just another crew member or some other entity. But a few bangs in the night is nothing. This is just the beginning. Later, the crew searches the junk around the shed and inside the home. Far from off, they see a figure in one of the old wooden houses. They panic but continue to draw closer, trying to get a better look at the apparition. The figure looks like an older woman with black hair and a pale face. A close-up reveals she is sitting in a chair, wearing a gray dress. Some think this might be the infamous Weeping Woman, known as La Llorona, or perhaps she's another ghostly incarnation specific to this place. We need to know the history to be sure. What exactly happened here? Only then will we know the fate of this ghostly figure. A YouTuber named Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal is checking out an abandoned house in Tennessee that's covered in occult graffiti. It's an unsettling sight for sure. But there's an audio portion of this video that has people talking. No less than 5 people thought they heard something during this part. Let me know if you hear it.
The entrance to hell. The hell.
As soon as he says that this is the entrance to the underworld, some people claim they hear a voice that says stay. I think it sounds like leaves rustling under his shoe as he takes a step back, but let me know if you heard the noise and what you think it was.
The entrance to hell. The entrance to hell.
YouTuber Donna Aries has a roommate that she cannot see. Let's take a look at this mischievous poltergeist in action.
Just come in, just heard something, so just grabbed my iPad to see if I see anything, and I'm sure I saw the cup move, so I've just grabbed me. There you go, again.
Donna does a good job of reassuring viewers that this is no gimmick.
Under there, that's just a bracket from an old drawer that used to be there. There's nothing in the cupboard, it's just cutlery and stuff. Nothing under there apart from pots and pans. There's no magnets.
Even if the surface was wet, the way it's moving is not how an object would move across a wet surface.
Underneath, there's nothing. It's just an old metal cup. Metal.
And then this happens.
Oh my gosh. The surface isn't wet or anything. It's all dry. So there's no reason for it to be moving. And it's moving again.
The only thing I can think of to debunk this is the nearby stove. If it's an induction stove, then it uses magnetic fields to generate heat. It would follow that a metal cup nearby would be drawn if the field is strong enough, but that's just a theory, and the way the cup moves is too erratic. Do you have any ideas? A YouTuber named RIS crams himself into a small cement sewer pipe for no other reason than to see how far he can go. As it turns out, the answer is not very far at all.
I can't move. Oh. Hopefully drone's coming soon!
Crawling in is always the easy part, but getting out is hard, especially with an oversized helmet that takes up more space. You can see one arm is pinned beneath him, and one arm is holding the camera. Backing out is not going to work in this position, and going forward offers no freedom either. His friends grab his legs, but the way his arm is wedged beneath of him makes him impossible to budge.
Oh, yes, I'm getting pulled. No, I'm actually stuck.
Finally, he maneuvers his other arm out so they both stick out in front of him. They try a final time. He tries to play it off like it's no big deal, but you can hear some real struggling during this part.
Can you get out?
I think he's about another 5 minutes away from panicking, so I'm glad they didn't have to call an emergency rescue team to break him free. An unexplained video caught on doorbell cam reveals a mysterious stranger that many think could be a ghost. The strange figure disappears off camera at 3 minutes and 56 seconds, and when he comes back 2 seconds later, there is a bizarre image trailing behind him that I don't think was there before. A lot of people are saying this is a ghost video because RVA Flip sells a lot of stuff on eBay and has come across his fair share of weird stuff that could be haunted, so maybe one of his possessions had a ghost attached. This is what he looks like, and a closer look at what the ghost looks like. It looks good at first, but I find it strange how both he and the ghost he saw seem to look similar and are about the same size. I'm wondering if this is a real ghost video like he says, or if he made a fake ghost video using himself as the subject. Look at the two figures and tell me what you see. Is this a ghost sighting, or is there no possible way? Could that flicker of light you see fast past be someone's soul? Published to YouTube by Tomato Superman to the Ghosts subreddit. This security footage from the Golden Cross Weatherspoon in Broomsgrove in the UK shows just what happens in old haunted places after dark. The security footage reveals a strange, iridescent pink light flash around the corner and down the hallway before vanishing. Tomato Superman says that he's a skeptic but admits he found this odd. He writes that the place has been closed for 3 weeks and that the alarms had gone off, which is why staff came in to check it out. This is what happens in the recording that seems to set off the alarms. He said the security system also started to break down immediately after. Many in the comments aren't sure what to think either, although some lean hard into the spirit world. And could this be something similar? A spirit making its presence known in this place? It certainly doesn't look like your everyday dust orb. These friends are too busy gathering around a campfire to notice something is scampering behind them.
Well, you've been sharpening it for like 2 hours.
Just out of reach. Watch it again.
Well, you've been sharpening it for like 2 hours.
The furless creature moves on all fours in an unnatural way that resembles no forest animal I've ever seen before. If it's not computer-generated imagery, then perhaps this is footage of the rake or some other forest beast. In the woods near Crybaby Bridge, this paranormal crew asks the spirit if he likes their company, and the spirit answers. Published by Hauntings of Ohio in February of 2020, the scary paranormal communication was captured on video. The video shows the crew communicating through a spirit box. After posting the video, this is the answer they receive.
Do you like our company?
What the? The guys say this is one of the clearest and most demonic voices they've ever caught on camera. Terrifying though it is, at least the answer was yes.
Do you like our company?
What the? Dude!
That was crystal clear, dude.
Yes. You often capture more than you bargain for on social media streams. Posted in July of 2019, this video shows a man wandering around an apparently abandoned apartment in the darkness. He seems to be praying as he shoots video of some window-type compartment up in the right-hand corner of one of the rooms. You can see some stranger peeking through. The man continues to pray and then suddenly screams in fear as he turns to capture something moving more aggressively in a huge box to his right as he races to get out of there. The door slams behind him. Even outside, he is not safe. He continues to pray while filming the exterior of the home. One of the window shutters up above opens and closes several times. Seems like this home needs more than prayer, it needs an exorcism. The name of this scientific study video from Russia translates to sleep paralysis case number 278. A man is deep asleep until the door opens and this freakish face peers in. As soon as it sets eyes on him, the poor man begins to fitfully twist and turn. Many people who experience sleep paralysis report seeing evil faces staring at them as they wake up, but this is the first time any such face has actually been recorded. Is it real, or just two people acting? It seems these poltergeists have left their group project until the last minute, published by Amar Ajola in September of 2014. This scary video caught some paranormal activity in a computer lab in Delhi's Karkardoma court. The footage shows a man sitting in a computer lab. He appears to be waiting to capture some strange activity on his camera, and then it happens. One computer monitor turns on, after another. They each turn on in their own time across the lab. No one else is in the room, so the mysterious behavior of the monitors is unnerving. Some think it's a prank using remote activation. Others think it's a ghost programmer needing to complete a project. Many note the orb activity in the video. Are these the entities that are present? It's certainly seeming that way to me. It's not unusual to try and make out figures in the clouds, but what happens when the figures are not just your imagination? This dark diamond-shaped figure floating over a body of water and below a curtain of clouds is not something your imagination conjured up. What do you see? Well, some in the comments of the video believe it's a star destroyer, a tear in the space-time continuum, or the monarch in the cocoon from Venture Brothers. Others take a more practical approach. It's called a water spout, Fisticuffs writes, and after reading up on the characteristics of a water spout, I must say I have to agree. Otherwise known as a non-supercell tornado, the funnel-like vortex occurring above a body of water in tropical or subtropical regions is often connected to clouds overhead. So as ominous as this figure may appear, it could be naturally occurring. Still, nevertheless, it will make you question everything. This video captures a total stranger on a bridge waving hello to rush hour traffic in a full clown outfit. A stranger waving to no one in particular is creepy enough, but take a look at its arm. Maybe it's just the angle, but the arm seems way too long and thin to belong to any person. Slow it down at the 15-second mark, and you can see the forearm alone looks to be the same length as a normal person's entire arm. Ghost hunting expert Stephen Lancaster leads a paranormal investigation in an attic that's believed to be haunted. Voices and footsteps are said to be heard ever since a previous owner lost their life up here. After setting up paranormal surveillance equipment, Stephen waits for a while and hears scary noises. I definitely heard something in the corner just a few feet away from Steven. Here's what he has to say. I think he's telling the truth, but let me know if you detect any giveaways in his voice.
Somebody was walking around. Somebody whispered something to me.
Vision seen by many is sometimes diagnosed as mass hysteria, but when it's caught on video, you cannot deny its existence. This video was published in February of 2012. The clip shows a group of people staring at the sun over the trees. At first, the camera appears to be just capturing the blazing sunlight, but as it focuses in, you can clearly see the shape of a woman within that blinding light. The clip, which has gone viral, was filmed in the Ivory Coast. The day prior to this apparition, locals had seen something which appeared to be a blue halo in the sky, a case that many thought was extraterrestrial. But when the apparition appeared using infrared technology, locals instead believed they were witnessing a miracle. Government officials tried to minimize the sighting, saying it was nothing, but some locals believe the apparition may simply be Mary casting her mercy and benevolence over the impoverished region. Whether you call this vision a miracle or not, coupled with the halo that is said to have appeared during the preceding days, these startling forms in the clouds are unexplainable. Sometimes you come across video footage on YouTube that just gives you a strange, unsettling feeling in the pit of your stomach, despite appearing relatively harmless. This clip is one of those types. Abner H7 posted the video titled Movo10 to Reddit. The clip begins with an emergency warning sound and reads, "Please hold, playback will begin." A dark screen appears to show the woods at night. The phrase "Hollow was alive" flashes scratchily on the screen for a moment, leaving viewers to wonder what that hollow lie is. The walk through the dark forest starts to morph into an unsettling funhouse mirror. The leaves on the ground sway and distort. Another phrase flashes across the screen reading, "They are making it real. Who are they? What is being made real? We are left to guess." Continued shots of the leaves, branches, and grass in the darkness are replaced, suddenly by a shot of the moon. Then one more message appears, "Help us." The clip then ends with another high-pitched sound, an official message indicating the playback is complete. What does this creepy clip mean? And why is this YouTube channel full of them? Dennis and Tim team up in this video on YouTube channel Nerve Paranormal, and they think this poltergeist is pushing them to do dangerous things. Upon entering the abandoned site, they find something out of place.
Что? Ты ее не ложил-то? Нет еще. Его тут не было? Не было. Блин, ты рукой показал, увидел я его и вообще.
As they explore, Dennis sees something pass by.
Летает у меня в глазах, я считаю, вспышка. Сделал вспышку. Вот что-то белое такое.
Then as they enter, if that wasn't scary enough, this happens.
Надо уходить, блин.
I agree that it's time to leave, but will the evil poltergeist let them?
Не гляди, куда? Давай туда.
With nowhere to go, they try to escape from the roof. But they decide against it.
Типа ты имеешь в виду подталкивать нас на это? Да. На охотный лес? Да. Слушай, а мы его тут не сможем просто? Не помню.
They re-enter the house and leave out the window instead. That was a close call, and I agree with Dennis that the poltergeist was trying to drive them out via a risky route. I'm glad they didn't listen though. While using the Randonautica app, Sunny Deeds and CJ Faison were driven into one of the most haunted forests in America. Even before setting out on their journey, they hear something in the woods.
Sonny, I'm not kidding you, we had a 20-mile drive going there.
They quickly head out and arrive at their destination.
Alright, so so there's supposed to be something here associated with, what is it? Mysterious
information.
Again, something is nearby.
Conspiracy on what actually, is believed to have...
was that?
Is it stalking them? It sure seems like it. Soon they find a note on the ground. And it says, let's see if they are.
What are the odds of that?
And moments later, their fun soon turns to terror.
What the was that?
Dude, that was a bat.
Was it a bat?
It literally just buzzed right by your guy's head. I hope the camera caught that.
Although the latest mystery may be solved, I'm still wondering if Sonny and CJ have a stalker who remains unseen. None other than Napoleon Bonaparte once lived in this mysterious abandoned mansion. Let's take a look at what he left behind. YouTuber Exploring with Josh leads the way through this dilapidated chateau.
You know, normally maybe because I'm in France, I wouldn't want to come to this place because it's decayed. It might not be that good compared to everything else that's here. But man, Napoleon stayed here. That's all that matters. That's why. I mean, this is...
I wonder if the little corporal slept in that bed. Josh also comes across this mysterious photograph.
Look at this kid right here. Knickknacks. I think there was, maybe at one point, could have been a flower right there, but don't know.
The history of this place is multi-layered.
I mean, this place has been inherited like multiple times through different owners and generations that who knows who was the last owner to actually stay here. But assuming by looking at the beds, they had children. Multiple.
In this room, the ceiling collapsed, making things a whole lot messier.
Jeez. I have pictures of what this was without this collapse, and we're gonna slip them in here throughout this video so I can show you what it was even 4 years ago from now.
As one of Josh's friends tries to get some deeper footage, an unwelcome creature makes an appearance.
You're like Pooh Bear who stuck in the tree for honey. Oh,
where's your hoodie?
There was a bat that just touched your butt, bro.
They then manage to open the door to the safe.
What is that? Did he open up the door? Yo! Yo! Dude, yes!
Okay,
we're not stuck in the safe.
Guys, we did not destruct any property in the making.
Although they didn't find anything valuable inside, I think that perhaps there were valuables in here at one point, but they were taken.
I bet you they did that to see if there's like hidden treasure that was behind it. So they did that just in case. Most likely that's what it was.
Well, there's old paintings there, so these probably were really rare.
Could have been Da Vinci's paintings, dude, for all you know. Seriously.
Are you getting Napoleon vibes from this place? I sure am, and his energy doesn't seem so small. This girl sleepwalking? Or is something else going on here? Shared by YouTube channel Doc Tops and originally posted by TikToker Jay Barari, this scary video is trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. A girl is seen standing upright on her bed, staring blankly forward and swaying slightly. After a time, the girl's mother enters the room and carries her out, but the girl is still staring fixedly at something.
Baby, come here. Come here, come here. Come here. What's up, baby? Come here. What's going on?
while some in the comments presume the girl was simply sleepwalking. I'm not so sure that's what's happening here. I think there's something evil in this house, and it's only a matter of time until it possesses her, if it hasn't already. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.